From this is our daily morning show, and we are live again this morning talking about the breaking news we had yesterday. Here we go from Fabrizio pertaining to Jose Mourinho. He's going to go back to the Bernabéu after 13 years. Yeah, but it's an amazing one, and I think it's going to be really exciting. Honestly, I think it's going to be really exciting having Jose back at the club after 13 years. We all know how he went. He also has the record point for the most points in La Liga, 100 points, which he used to win the league the first time he was there. Barcelona tried it this season, but yeah, they are not going to be able to meet that number to get up to 100 points. Yeah, so I think it's a good one to have Jose back because the Madrid dressing room have been having series of issues. Yeah, so I think Jose coming back at this point, he's the best candidate to be able to get the Madrid team back to winning ways. So I'm going to put up a poll in the chat. Is it the right decision to get Jose Mourinho back to Real Madrid, or you feel it's not going to work out really well? Maybe his ego is going to clash with the egos of other players in the dressing room, the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Junior. Will Vini leave because Jose is coming back, or will he sort out the differences he had with Vini during that Benfica game? So these are things we'll have to look out for. Yeah, but I think for sure Jose is going to do well at Madrid the second time. And also another breaking news we had last night: Pep Guardiola is leaving Man City at the end of the season. This is wild, honestly, and I think it's a big news in the Premier League. Seeing Pep Guardiola leave after 10 years, it's really massive. He's won 20 trophies in 10 years. That's an average of 2 trophies every season. Now, Pep has been very, very successful, honestly. And I think at this point, you can say that he's the second best when it comes to English history. Yeah, because I don't think there's any manager that has done 20 trophies in 10 years. Yes, Alex was very successful in 27 years in Manchester United. He won 13 league titles, 2 Champions Leagues, but Pep has a very, very good record. So it's really nice to see Pep leave. I know lots of EPL fans will be very, very happy. We don't know what's next for Pep in terms of which team he's going to take over after he leaves Man City. Fabrizio Romano posted about 7 hours ago. He said Pep Guardiola has informed Manchester City that he will leave the club this summer. Decision confirmed, an official statement to follow as Pep will say goodbye to Man City fans very soon. Only one name to replace Pep: Enzo Maresca. So I think this is a massive news for the Premier League. Sincerely, it's a massive news having to hear the news of Pep Guardiola leaving Man City at the end of the season. It's really, really fantastic. So let's see what happens in the next couple of days. If the announcement is going to be the last game of the season, the Man City is playing at the Etihad Stadium. So let's see. Let me check the charts. I think we have a couple of charts. Sibao says, "What's up, Nobu? Good morning." Okay, good afternoon. I don't think Mourinho still had it. Arsene Wenger above Pep. Nah, I don't. Yeah, I rate Arsene Wenger very highly, but I don't think he's above Pep Guardiola. The only manager I think who is above Pep Guardiola in terms of what he's done in the Premier League, the impact he's had over the years, is only Sir Alex Ferguson. But for Arsene Wenger, Pep Guardiola won more Premier League titles than Arsene Wenger, and he stayed for fewer years. If I'm not mistaken, I think Arsene Wenger stayed in Arsenal for I think almost 20 years. Arsene Wenger came to Arsenal in the 90s, probably 90, I think 94. I might not be sure of the exact day, but I know it's in the 90s that Arsene Wenger came to Arsenal. Sir Alex came to Man United, I think 86, 87. Then Wenger came around 90, I would say 93, 94. So Wenger stayed in the Prem for, yeah, I think 20 years. And Pep Guardiola won more Premier League titles than Arsene Wenger. So I think, in my opinion, I would say Pep is a greater Premier League legend than Arsene Wenger. I'll go with Sir Alex, Pep Guardiola, Arsene Wenger, then Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, that's the ranking I would give it. Last Gospel Adeshi says Arteta is the GOAT. Well, Arteta needs to try his best to win the league this season. I know it's at this point you can say it's 90% or let's say 95% at this point. Yeah, I would say it's 95% at this point. Yeah, because Arsenal just need to win one match to seal the Premier League title. So let's see what happens in that last game against Crystal Palace. I think Palace might not take that game very seriously because they have a final to play next week Wednesday against, I think it's is it Rayo Vallecano? I think it's Rayo Vallecano that Palace is playing in a Conference League final. So let's see what happens. Like I said, let me put up the poll in the chat. Will Jose Mourinho succeed at Madrid for the second time? Yeah, let me put up the poll so I can get your thoughts, guys. Will Jose Mourinho succeed at Real Madrid again for the second time after leaving? Coming back after 13 years. That's a long time. Kev Proud says Arsenal or Liverpool. Well, I would rather go for Arsenal than Liverpool, even though they are both my rivals. But yeah, I would rather go for Arsenal than Liverpool. Creative Bunny says now Man City will be the Liverpool 2.0. Honestly, this is a great news hearing that Pep Guardiola is leaving the Premier League after 10 years. That brother has terrorized the Premier League. It's even right to say he turned the Premier League into Farmers League. Because if you check, out of the 10 years, Pep has been in the Premier League for 10 years, right? Out of the 10 years he's been in the Prem, he's won the league title 6 times. That's a lot. Winning the Premier League 6 times out of 10. This is the 10th year, right? He's fighting to win the league title between himself and Arsenal. Yes, I think Arsenal will win it for sure, but he wants to make sure he takes the fight till the last day of the season. But I think the league will be decided today. Bournemouth are going to get points off Man City today. I'm very much sure of that. They are going to get points off Man City today. Okay, like I said, let me put up a poll. Will Jose Mourinho succeed at Madrid? Yeah. Let me put up the poll. Will Jose Mourinho succeed at Madrid? Yes or no? Yeah, let me know in the chat if you think Jose will succeed at Madrid for the second time. After 13 years, actually. He's back to Madrid after 13 years. So let's see what your thoughts are. The chat should let me know. It's James says, guys, get the likes up. Yes, guys, let's get the likes up. Let's get it up. Elul says, Jose Mourinho go to Real Madrid. Yes. We got a here we go from Fabrizio Romano yesterday that Jose is already agreed a deal with Real Madrid. It's going to be a 2-year deal. So after the last game of the season for Madrid, then Jose is going to go. He's going to fly to Madrid, and I think it's going to be interesting, honestly. Creative Bunny says yes, he will succeed. Well, hopefully. I actually think he will, but let's see how it plays out. Seabound says if Arteta didn't get Quadric Premier League after Pep left, then he's mid. I think Arteta is going to get serious competitions next season. Yeah, because the likes of Man United, Chelsea. I don't know about Liverpool because Liverpool still have the same manager who struggled this season. But I'm very much sure that Man United, Chelsea, and Man City are going to be on Arsenal's neck next season. So Arteta just needs to do all he can to win it this season. At least winning it this season will give the players the confidence to say, okay, we've done it the first time, let's go for the second. But if they fail to win it this season, it's definitely going to affect the players mentally and they might not be able to get over the line again. But let's see what happens. I think they are going to win it this season. It's James says predictions for the Tottenham game tonight. I'm predicting a 2-1 win for Tottenham Hotspur against Chelsea. I think Spurs will survive relegation today. That's why I said today being Tuesday, the title will be decided today. Also, the relegation battle will be decided and concluded today. Spurs will get a win against Chelsea. And Bournemouth will either draw or win Manchester City. That's my prediction. Messi says counter-attack doesn't work. In some cases it works, but if you're playing counter-attack, the counter-attack for if you're a big team, if you're playing counter-attack, that counter-attack should work against big teams. No, let me not use bigger teams. If you're playing against big teams that you know are good on the ball, you might have a tactics to do counter. But if you're playing against smaller clubs, you need to possess the ball. You need to hold on to the ball more than those small clubs. So it's for you to know when to use the counter and for you to dominate the game. Those are very, very important. It's James says, I have to go and get ready for school. Bye. All right, James. Do have a great day at school. Barry Salton says, Mourinho is terrible. Nah, I think that is actually a disrespect to Jose. Maybe you can say Mourinho is old-fashioned, he's old school. Yeah, but sometimes those old school you think might not be able to do anything. They are still very good. The most important thing is the mentality. That mentality to win at all costs. But one thing with Mourinho is he's not focused on playing beautiful football. That's not his style. He's just concentrated on winning. Any way you need to win, you win the damn game. That's what Jose is all about. He's not really about playing fancy football and all that. Nah, it's not his way. And we are going to see the La Liga get more interesting. There'll be a couple of controversies going on, press conferences, because when it comes to press conferences, Jose is the GOAT when it comes to that, because the brother can stir up lots of controversies during the press conference. Samuel Muyenza says, today we are looking forward to our senior man, Oganobu, applauding the mighty Arsenal. You Arsenal fans, make una calm down. You guys should relax. It's okay. Messi says Hansi Flick will put Mourinho in his pocket. Well, you don't need to be too comfortable, because Jose, so long the experience is there, he's still a big threat. You might not like his football, I understand that, but you don't need to look down on Jose's impact in teams. For example, look at the Benfica team. Since September he took over at Benfica, he didn't lose one single game the whole season. Some people might see that as being normal, but it's not normal. He took over the season in September. I think the league started in August, and he took over in September. They didn't lose one single game. I think they drew 11 games. Won about, I think, is it 20? I think he won about 20 something games. Yeah, but the draws were much. Yeah, but instead of him losing those games, he would rather draw them. Priam says Ronaldo or Messi. Of course, it has to be Cristiano Ronaldo, 100%. Cristiano Ronaldo. Messi says Adidas or Nike. I would say Adidas. I like Adidas very, very well. I do like Adidas. I like Adidas. And also, guys, we got the breaking news yesterday when the Brazilian squad for the World Cup was released. Neymar Jr. is back on the list for Brazil. So Neymar is going to the World Cup. I saw a clip last night about on Marcelo actually. Marcelo celebrating the inclusion of Neymar into the Brazilian squad for the World Cup. I'm actually very much happy to see that Neymar Jr. was included as one of the players that will be heading to the World Cup for Brazil. Yeah, but sadly, Joao Pedro was excluded from that list. Honestly, I was very surprised. Yeah, because I think the whole essence of calling players up for the national team is based on their individual brilliance and performance the whole season. And in my opinion, Joao Pedro has done amazing this season. And I don't think he's scored okay at Bright. I don't think he's scored this number of goals or had this impact in a season before. I doubt that. He scored 20 goals for Chelsea this season and got 6 assists in his first season. Mind you, Chelsea have been struggling this season, but Joao Pedro has had a great impact in their team. Maybe if not for him, probably Chelsea will be struggling down the relegation zone. Yeah, but Joao Pedro, yeah, he did very well. I do feel for him. I do feel for him because you cannot have the kind of season Joao Pedro had and be excluded from the Brazilian squad. Yeah, I definitely do feel for him. Carlo Ancelotti said, I'm sad for players who have been left out like Joao Pedro. They will have chances in the future. Yes, of course, we know they will have chances in the future, but I just think individually, Joao Pedro has had a better season than Gabriel Martinelli of Arsenal. Yeah, Joao Pedro has had a better season. I don't like Chelsea. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I always like to look at football differently. I don't look at football as a Man United fan. No, I look at football as a football fan, right? So I just think that leaving Joao Pedro out of that World Cup list, yeah, that was a big mistake from Carlo Ancelotti. I can understand the inclusion of Neymar. I can understand the inclusion of Neymar in the World Cup squad, but yeah, excluding Joao Pedro and you're taking Gabriel Martinelli. Honestly, I really think that's a wrong move from Carlo Ancelotti. There were a couple of players on that list that I do not really know. I think Henrique. I don't know the team that Henrique boy plays for. I really don't know the team. I really don't know the team Enrique plays for. Yeah, but let's see what happens in the World Cup for Brazil. Blind Kid says, my noble. Blancoid, where are you connecting from? I'm doing amazing. Yaya says, Arsenal's attack was awful yesterday. Sincerely, I think you guys should have scored 3 or 4 goals yesterday because Arsenal created a couple of chances that at least should have gotten 2 more goals. Yeah, 2 more goals at least, but you guys just held on to that 1-0. And the most disturbing thing for Arsenal yesterday, as a neutral watching that game, was the fact that towards, I think from 60 minutes or from 56 minutes till the end of the game, you guys conceded lots of chances in that game. Honestly, you gave up lots of chances to Burnley that if they were clinical, they would have scored you guys yesterday. And I think there were lots of decisions that went in favor of Arsenal. Honestly, there were lots of decisions that went in favor of Arsenal. In my opinion, Kai Havertz should have seen a red card. That tackle was definitely a red card. Right? It was a red card. I know, yes, the Saka one. The Saka one, I think that was a penalty. That Saka incident, I think Saka should have gotten a penalty there. And also, Joao Pedro should have been sent off 100% because that tackle, I just think it's very, very clumsy and reckless from Kai Havertz to do that. And your attack yesterday, your attack always fumbles. Yeah, the saving grace you guys have is your defense. That's your defense is just solid. Nicky Edwards says, breaking news, sadly Pep will be leaving Man City at the end of the season. Yeah, that is a great news. Sadly for you guys, Man City, but for other football fans in the Prem, it's a good news. And I'm really happy that Pep Guardiola is leaving because that brother has terrorized the Premier League in the last 10 years. So it's really, really a good news to hear that he's leaving at the end of the season. Ali Ibrahim says hi. Ali Ibrahim, welcome back. Welcome back, Ali Ibrahim. Kev Proud says Pep is leaving City and Neymar Jr. is in the Brazil World Cup team. Yeah, those are great news. And most importantly is the Pep news. I got that notification last night. I think it was, at that point we were doing a live watch along for the Arsenal game. That was when I got that notification. And it was reaffirmed this morning by Fabrizio. So it's really, really a great news. Pep is going to say goodbye to the Man City fans on Sunday at the Etihad. So let's see. After Gaming says, Pep is also leaving City at the end of the season. It's the end of an era for football, unfortunately. Well, we don't know what the future holds for him, if he's going to retire or just go on sabbatical for 1 year or 2 years. We don't know yet, but let's see. Let's see what happens. Yaya says, I don't think it was a red. There was no force. It was not dangerous. Stupid tackles though. Sums up Havertz. Bro, that was a clear red card. 100%. If Havertz was shown a red card yesterday, I would definitely applaud the referee because that would have been the right decision. That tackle was really, really silly and clumsy. There was no need and no reason for him to do that. No need for that. He was very lucky not to have been sent off. And if Havertz had gotten that red card at that point, I kid you not, Arsenal would have considered a goal that yesterday. They would have considered a goal. But he was just very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Aliza Williams says, I'm back. Welcome back, Aliza Williams. After Gaming says, it's the youngsters' turn to prove themselves. Which youngsters are you talking about? Yaya says, ref used common sense for once, though I think it could have been a red had it not been Arsenal. This is our first season with no reds. I just feel, this is why I said the universe is actually in Arsenal's favor to win the league this season, because the kind of decisions that Arsenal is getting in their favor. If not the fact that the Premier League has actually concluded that they don't want to give City the league this season, that Arsenal should take it. I honestly think there are certain decisions. For example, the West Ham incident last week, that goal would have been allowed. I'm telling you the honest truth. That ball against West Ham, the 95th minute goal, that would have been allowed. That goal, the VAR probably might not even review it. The referee has already given a goal and it stands that way. But everything is just working in Arsenal's favor. After Gaming says, I love Pep because I'm a Barca fan myself, so him leaving is sad. He really was owning the Premier League. Yeah, Pep dominated the Prem. So if Arsenal go on to win the league this season, it will be 6 Premier League titles for Pep Guardiola in 10 years. That is massive. So that means he's won 60% of the league. in those 10 years. So it's really, really a remarkable achievement for Pep Guardiola. Yeah, he's been amazing. After Gaming says 6 Premier League titles, 1 UCL. What a coach, one of the best. Yeah, Pep's name is already written in history, 100%. Yaya says the question is though, does clumsiness make a red? It wasn't dangerous, it just tripped him really. Nah, bro, you can't say that wasn't dangerous. Look at his boots. His boot was high, and that tackle was very bad, very, very bad. If that referee had given a red card, I would say that aside Arsenal fans, there are some Arsenal fans that will be fuming at Kai Havertz for making such tackles. Some Arsenal fans would fume with him, right? They will be really, really angry with him. But for neutral fans, like, let me just take out people who do not want Arsenal to win the league, because people who want Arsenal to win the league, they will be like, oh, ref, it's a red card. I'm just talking about people who just watch football for the sake of the love of the game and are unbiased in terms of the analysis. They will tell you that is a straight red card. There's no two ways about it. His boot was high. And like the clumsiness, there are some clumsy tackles that are red cards. Some clumsy tackles are not. But that one yesterday, Kai Havertz, he was very, very lucky not to have seen a red. Sincerely. Haya Bojama says, bro, how old are you? I'm 34. How about you, Bojamas? Rosam Matthew says, now Real Madrid will begin with winning streak. Yes, I think one thing you have to applaud Jose Mourinho for is the fact that he knows how to win. He might not win very, very beautiful win that might be so exciting for you, right? But if it's about winning, he knows how to grind results. That's one thing Jose Mourinho is actually very much good at. So I think things are going to change at Madrid going forward. Yeah, he's going to put many of these players in their place. He's going to put them in their place. And I'm really, really excited for what is to come at Madrid. So let's see what the future holds for Madrid. But one thing I'm actually looking forward to very, very much is the Vini Jr. Mourinho relationship. It's one thing I'm actually looking forward to. I want to see how Jose will handle that situation and how Vini Jr. will also take in the fact that right now Jose Mourinho is the new boss. I know Kylian Mbappe is very much happy because Mbappe liked a post that talked about the news of Jose Mourinho coming back to Madrid. Mbappe and some Madrid players liked that post. Yeah, but I know for Vini Jr., he will have no choice than to come on board, else he would have to leave. I don't think that would be an option for him. Yeah, because there is no club out there that would go all out for Vini Jr. right now. And Madrid will want a huge sum for him. So let's see. I think Vini Jr. is going to come on board. Maybe Jose will have to call him to his office and they will have a conversation. Let's see how that goes. Yeah, but I think for sure Jose is going to be successful at Madrid. Yeah, he's going to be very successful. He's not going to play beautiful football. I'm very, very much sure of that. But yeah, Barcelona will be very, very surprised as to how difficult it's going to be for them now. Nicky Edwards says, after gaming for real, he made City fans happy, but he's going and stepping down as a manager at City. Bye to a legend. Yeah, Pep is a legend in the Premier League. And I think he's only behind Sir Alex Ferguson. I would say he's the second best in the history of the Premier League. The second best. 6 Premier League titles in 10 years and total 20 trophies for him in 10 years. That is massive. Rosa Matthew says, bro, what do you think? Who will win the UCL final? I've said this for weeks now. I think Arsenal will win it. And we got a news recently that Ousmane Dembele is injured even though we don't know the severity of the injury, but let's see if he's going to be available or not. Let's see. Yaya says the PGMOL have definitely told officials to be favorable this season. I think that's what it is, because like I said, there are certain decisions that have been very favorable to Arsenal this season. Yeah, there have been decisions that ordinarily would have gone against you guys, but yeah, one thing with the Prem, they favored you guys this season. Maybe next season they will have to give decisions against you guys. You will see that. I'm actually predicting that next season Arsenal will have lots of decisions against them. And talking about Pep Guardiola, I have a theory though. I have a theory that Pep Guardiola already knows what the outcome of the 115 charges is going to be. He has a feeling. And I think once Pep leaves, the Premier League, or the body that is actually the independent body that is actually going through the case, a decision will be passed, right? And I think that decision will push Man City into championship next season. I have a theory, and I think that is why Pep Guardiola decided to bounce this season, because if you watched his press conference last week or a week ago, he said something about having one more year left on his contract. So that means he intended to stay for one more year. But I have a feeling that the 115 count charge, that decision will be made at the end of this season or before the new season begins for 2026-27. Haya Bogama says, I'm a Giant fan. Which team is Giant? Fala says, Pep will leave Man City. Yeah, Pep is leaving. Yaya says, it was a high tackle, but not a dangerous tackle. There was no force. Cameras make it look worse. Luckily, ref was right next to it. Bro, it was a high tackle. That was the rough was too much. That was a red card. His boot went very high, and we all know the league. Once your boot goes high, it's a red card. One thing you have to understand with VAR, when you go for replays, it's definitely going to look worse than in real time. That's just how VAR is, because if you are reviewing it, they will give you different motions, fast, slow, and mid motion plays. So it's definitely going to make it worse. But man, looking at that tackle, that was a foul play. It was a very, very dangerous tackle. Honestly, he was very lucky to have escaped a red card. Daniel Berry Sports highlight says, "Hey everyone, happy Tuesday." Yeah, happy Tuesday to you too, my brother. Welcome back, Falal. After Gaming says, now that Pep is leaving, who could replace him? That's the question. I think, in my opinion, the onus falls on Mikel Arteta. Yeah, because Mikel Arteta has been the most consistent manager in the last 4 years. Okay, I don't want to go in the last 4 years. Because in those 4 years, maybe this 4th year he might win a league title, right? But aside Pep, Arteta has been the most consistent in the league. Because if you check the last 4 years, Arsenal have come second 3 times in a row. Maybe they might win it this fourth year. Yeah, but I think with Pep leaving, Arteta should dominate. But maybe he might not dominate. Let's see. Yeah, says this is the PGMOL rules for high tackles and high foot challenges, penalizing them using 3 tiers of severity based on force, speed, and whether the action endangers an opponent's safety. Of course, that tackle from Kai Havertz endangers the Burnley player. If you look at where the ball was and where he went for that tackle behind, mind you, that tackle came from behind. He lifted his boot up and stamped on, I don't even remember the Burnley guy's name. And the speed of that tackle, now it was a very bad tackle. It was a very bad one. If that tackle was actually in his shin area, that would have been more dangerous for the Burnley guy. That was a very, very bad tackle. After Gaming says there are rumors Enzo coming to City if Pep leaves. There are rumors. No, the rumors I've seen about Enzo is linking him to Real Madrid. And I think he might go to Madrid because in March, during the international break, we all saw how he was flirting with Real Madrid. And that got him 2-match ban against which team did they play in the FA Cup, and also he missed Man City games. So that was the punishment meted out to him by the club. And then Liam Rossinier was still the manager of Chelsea. Yaya says definitely doesn't meet all 3 criteria. Bro, let's just leave it at that. You guys were very, very fortunate not to get that red card against Kai Havertz, because in all honesty, yes, I actually wanted you guys to win. I predicted a 3-0 win for Arsenal, right? But that was a red card. The same way I said the Saka one, I think VAR and the referee, they got it wrong. That was supposed to be a penalty because that defender, I don't know if it's Steve, that boy's name, he didn't touch the ball. He actually stamped on Saka's foot, but the referee didn't give it as a pen, and VAR saw that and said it was not a penalty. So I think those are the 2 decisions I would say. Those are the decisions I would say I wasn't cool with in that game. After Gaming says he mostly uses a 4-4-3 formation. Are you saying Pep Guardiola uses a 4-4-3? There's nothing like a 4-4-3. It's 4-4-2 because 4-4-3 means 11 outfield players and it's only 10 outfield players. Kev Proud says Premier League or UCL? Well, the UCL is actually a bigger trophy because it's the trophy that the best teams in Europe actually participate in. So, of course, if you win the Champions League, it's bigger, for example, players, it's bigger for them than the Premier League or La Liga or let's say Scudetto or the Bundesliga. After game, he says, yes, he's still really good. Who are you talking about? Fast Everlast says, I think the plan of bringing Jose will be amazing signing and will discipline the players, or it will backfire and be just like the other managers. Honestly, yeah, I know there are lots of crazy boys in that dressing room. Vini, Mbappe, Bellingham, Rodrigo, all these guys. I think Jose will be able to handle them because I think aside that stuff during that Benfica game that happened, that Jose made a comment that didn't sit well with lots of people. I personally didn't agree with what Jose said, right? I feel, yeah, I know Jose is not a racist. That's not what I'm saying. But I think him trying to defend his player, he went too far with that defense. Trying to make Vini, who was actually abused racially, to become the victim. The victim, he actually made the victim to become the villain because the way he twisted it and said, you have to look at yourself if it keeps happening over and over again. And it doesn't make sense for me. So I think that is the only issue that I would say, okay, Jose needs to address first before he carries on with his responsibility and duties at Madrid. Yeah, aside that, the likes of Kylian Mbappe respects Jose because if you saw what happened that game, Mbappe went on to meet Jose Mourinho and was talking to Mourinho. And I think Vini also met Mourinho. He respects Mourinho. What Mourinho has done in the game, he respects Mourinho. And Mourinho was a former Madrid manager. So I think those boys respect him. And also look at Jude Bellingham. look at Jude Bellingham. When Madrid won that final, Jude won his first Champions League title. He actually pleaded with Mourinho to take a picture with his mom. That his mom is a big Mourinho fan. So I think the respect definitely is there for Jude when it comes to Jose Mourinho. But it's just that whole Benfica stuff with the Argentine player. I think that's the only thing that might bring up an issue, but he needs to address that first so as to get all the boys on board. And I think Jose has the right personality to be able to handle those boys in the dressing room. After Gaming says, and Enzo worked with City assistant manager for City. Okay, I thought you were referring to Enzo Fernandez. I didn't know you were talking about Enzo Maresca. Yes, according to Fabrizio Romano, and they've been hammering on this for months. And that was one of the reasons that made Enzo Maresca leave Chelsea, because Chelsea felt it was actually disrespectful for Enzo Maresca to be having talks with Man City. And also the disagreement Enzo Maresca had with the medical team in terms of the minutes that should be given to players who are just coming back from injury. So those issues are part of the reason that made Enzo Maresca leave Chelsea. Yaya says, we need to go back to reffing from the 90s. Jose is past it. He won't last long at Madrid. If it was such a bad tackle, the player would have screamed and it happened right next to the ref. It would only be considered a red because the game has become soft, not actually a red. We are not talking about games played in the 90s or early 2000s. Games played in the 90s and early 2000s were very rough, right? But we are talking about the current FIFA and IFAB rules. That tackle was definitely a red. Yeah, in the 90s and in the early 2000s, most of the things we give red cards for now, they were not red cards then, right? For example, maybe you holding a player shirt or coming to, maybe you hold a player on the neck. In those 90s, those were not even given. Sometimes you see players punch, players punch each others in the face in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, but now, yeah, I agree. Football now is softer, but that was definitely a red card. Kelvin says hi. Kelvin, welcome back. Bilal says hi, Nobu. Welcome back to you as well, Bilal. Nice to have you back. Yo, guys, let's get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. We have a couple of interesting news going around the internet right now. Pep Guardiola, which for me, that is the most exciting news. Pep Guardiola is leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. That is a great news. I actually need him to leave so other teams can actually push for the league title. For example, like Man United. Yeah, since Pep came, Man United didn't finish above Man City for once. We didn't. Last season, Man City were very terrible. Man United decided to be more terrible. They finished 15th, while City finished, I think, 3rd. So, yeah, it's really a nice feeling to see that Pep Guardiola will be leaving at the end of the season. And I said this, I actually have a theory that the 115 count charges against Man City will be decided, let's say, this summer or in the coming season. I feel he has a feeling that's why he's decided to bounce and maybe go on sabbatical, or probably, I don't think he's going to retire. He might go on a sabbatical leave probably for 2 years. And after that, he's going to come back. He's going to refresh and come back. So let's see. Abid says, Neymar back, baby. Yeah, Neymar Jr. is back as well. And I'm really happy for him. You can see Marcelo's reaction on the internet. Yeah, he was very, very excited and happy to have Neymar back in the Brazilian squad. Yeah, and for Enzo Maresca is going to be the next manager of Manchester City when Pep Guardiola leaves. Blank Oid says, are you happy we are 3rd place finish for Man United? Of course, looking at where we finished last season, so getting third is actually a very big achievement. It's a very big achievement because you have to look at what your previous year was and look at where you are currently standing, right? You look at where you are currently standing. That is just it. So I think it's a good season for Man United. It would have been a perfect season if we won a trophy, but we didn't win a trophy. And looking at how dark Man United's season was last year, yeah, finishing third and going to the Champions League, having been out of the Champions League for 2 years, it's actually a big achievement. Yaya says it doesn't meet the criteria for a red, Noble. There was no force as per the rules. Why are just saying it's a red because it was high? That's not the rules. That was fast, bro. That was definitely fast. And did it endanger the football player, the opponent? Of course it did. It endangered that player. Is it because he didn't go out with a broken leg? That's what you're saying. It didn't endanger him. And the speed was there. The speed definitely was there. I just feel that at this point, the referees already have an agenda and they just want to stick to that agenda. And one thing about referee decisions is this. If it works for you, fine and good. You just rejoice and be happy. When it doesn't work in your favor, you should also accept it in good faith. So that's just it for me. After Gaming says United 24-25 was a loyalty test, to be honest. I've never watched a season as terrible as the 24-25 season for Man United. I've never. Yeah, last season was just, let me just use the word, it was a one-off. Yeah. Because I don't expect to ever see something like that again as a Man United fan. Abid says, who will be the new manager of Manchester City? Enzo Maresca's name has been flying around as the possible replacement for Pep Guardiola. And that's one of the main reasons that made him leave Chelsea. Yeah, because the job was going to be vacant in no distant future. So he had to leave with the disagreements he had with the Chelsea board. Errol Clark says, the ref is buying the league for Arsenal. I think that Arsenal in recent times have been having lots of decisions in their favor. That's how the Prem works sometimes. You look at when Man City won the league in those 6 years, they had lots of decisions in their favor. The most notable one recently was the Rodri, I think it was Rodri handball against Everton. I think that was 2 seasons ago. Yeah, the Rodri incident. That was supposed to have been given. Also, if you look at the Liverpool game against Man City, Doku was supposed to have been shown a red card. Doku didn't get a red card. So, these periods that a team might win the league, there are certain decisions that might go in their favor that are actually the wrong decisions from the officials. But you just have to accept it. You have no choice. You can only complain. The complaints change nothing. It doesn't change anything. They will still go on to do what they want to do. So we as fans can only complain, but it cannot affect any change. They will do whatever they decide to do. Bilal says the Premier League won't be the same without Pep. Now, I think the Prem will still be the same. Yeah, because the Premier League has always been very, very competitive. Always. So I think that is still going to remain. Yeah, but Pep had a big impact in the Premier League for these 10 years. He had a big impact. Yeah, but I think that with the players that we have in the Prem, yeah, it's always going to be competitive, and the Premier League is always the most attractive place for players. Kelvin says, hi, Mr. Noble, how are you doing? I am doing amazing, my brother. I'm doing good. Yaya says, whatever the decision, it was a stupid tackle that could have cost us the title. This is what I've been saying, bro. That you guys should just be happy that you got away with that. That is just it. But if it's a red, if it's about being a red, it's definitely a red. Because that was very clumsy, unnecessary. It was a dangerous tackle. And it went in favor of Arsenal, because I think if that red card was given at that point, Arsenal would definitely concede a goal. And if they concede a goal, you don't know if they will still concede the second. Because look at the fact that it was still 11-11. Between the last 30 to 35 minutes of that game, Arsenal gave up lots of chances to Burnley. Yeah, they weren't clinical enough, but Arsenal gave up a lot of chances. Look at the Eze mistake. Eze mistake that Anthony took, and yeah, you saw how that went. They were not just clinical enough in that game. Blancoid says, how do you feel about Casemiro? Yeah, Casemiro, for me, he's a great servant of the club. Yeah, he's a great servant, and he's actually giving the club his best. And I love those type of players who just give their all for the club they play for. They just give everything for the club they play for. And it's really, really nice to see players that will fight for the badge. They will give everything for the club, not leaving anything behind. Ejebu Godwin says hi. Godwin, nice to have you. Godwin says, Man City is doing well. What do you mean Man City is doing well? Man City this season, it's not the usual level we know Man City for. That's just it. It's not their usual level. And I think the drop-off for Man City started last season. Yeah, the number of matches they lost, but even in their terrible season last year, they still came back towards the second half of the season, and they kept on winning, and got to third position, and they finished third last year. So the fact that they had a very terrible season, according to their standards though, because the bar that Pep Guardiola has set at Man City is very, very high. So anything that looks average is seen as a very, very bad season. For example, in Pep's own diary, this season, in his opinion, will still be a very terrible season. Right? So I think Man City has had a drop-off since last season. Yeah, but this season is better for them because they have been chasing Arsenal for the league title. Yeah, says, refs have cost us the league in previous seasons with stupid reds. Yeah, this is why I say in the Premier League, you might get decisions in your favor and you might get them against you. Whichever one you get, you just have to accept them in good faith. That's just it for me. Yeah, because sometimes referees' decisions can be crazy. And at times, you just fume and shout. You just scream at the top of your voice. What in the world is this referee doing? Yeah, a PGMOL for the Man United game, I saw a post where they said they admitted the error, that should have been a foul. That goal should not have stood. For me, I don't think that was the wrong decision from the referee, because the ball actually hit his stomach before going to the hand. Except the rule states whether it touches the other part of the body, so long it touches the arm, that foul should have been given. The handball actually should have been given. But yeah, sometimes when it comes to the Premier League and in football in general, decisions might go in your favor and sometimes they might go against you. So whichever one it is, you have to accept them in good faith. That's just it. Errol Clark says, I think Arsenal is going to lose the league on the final day. Nah, if that happens, it's going to shatter a lot of Arsenal fans. It is going to destroy a lot of people. Some persons might even have heart attack as a result of that. So please, it should not happen. For the safety, because I know lots of Arsenal people. For the safety of Arsenal fans, that should not happen. It should not happen, honestly. Yeah, let Arsenal just win the title. Let them win it, because the cries we are going to see, the cries we are going to see, they will be too much to handle. Honestly. Budata, says, "What is your name?" My name is Noble. Yeah, but you can also call me David. Either Noble or David. Anyone you call me, they are all my name. Yeah. Noble is my nickname. David is my real name. So anyone you call me is all good by me. Budatahu, where are you connecting from? Your name sounds like someone from Asia. Which part of Asia are you from? Budatahu. Errol Clark says, "If that happened, I will be there." Which team do you support, Clark? You guys should actually cut Arsenal some slack, right? Those guys they've suffered enough. It's already 22 years, guys. Come on. You guys should actually pity for the Arsenal fans. If not for the players, right? The Arsenal fans that have been there waiting for 22 whole years. Come on, guys. You guys should have a pity on them. Clark says, "The best team in the league, Man United." Okay, you're a Man United fan. Yeah, United for life. What's your thought about Michael Carrick? Do you think it's the right decision for Ineos to keep Michael Carrick? Do you think it's the right decision? There are some fans of Man United that are actually against the decision to give Carrick the job on a permanent basis. I don't share that sentiment, but I actually understand the point raised by those fans. But I think that Carrick, looking at the pool of managers out there, he's the best choice for me. The only person I would take ahead of Carrick right now is Luis Enrique. If you're giving me a manager that is not Luis Enrique, you should hold that person. I really don't need him. Clark says, "We Man United fan hate Arsenal and Liverpool." For me, it's... Yes, I wouldn't say I like Arsenal, right? But I just feel this season I just had to go different, because Arsenal has actually suffered a lot. Yeah, and I have a couple of players in the Arsenal team I like. Yeah, that's why I just want them to win. The point for me is, I don't want City to get their hands on that league title again. I just don't want it. And for Liverpool, Chelsea, those are the two clubs I know in the Premier League. I don't even want to see these guys lift any trophy. I don't want to see them. Errol Clark says, "No, I think it's a bad decision, but I understand the appointment." Okay, why do you think it's a bad decision? Let's start from there. Ejebu Godwin says, "Footballers' retirement is painful. This season, Griezmann, Lewandowski." Griezmann is not retiring. Griezmann is going to the MLS, and I think Lewandowski will also go to the MLS. Yeah, but they are both leaving their clubs. Griezmann was actually crying. He was very emotional. He apologized to the Atletico Madrid fans for not winning the Champions League for them and the league title. He also apologized to Atletico Madrid fans for going to Barcelona. He said it was a mistake, that he was younger then, that he didn't know what he knows now, that if he had known, he would not have moved to Barcelona. So he's already a legend of Atletico. I think he's the highest goal scorer of Atletico Madrid. So he's already a legend of the club, even though he didn't win a league title for them. Rashid, where are you connecting from? He's dear Rashid. Unique says, "Chelsea are interested in signing you. Will you accept the offer?" Nah, I'm not accepting the offer for Chelsea to sign me. Nah. Man United, yeah, but Chelsea, hell no, bro. No way. Clark says, I think Carrick tactics is a little off and his in-game management is poor. Um, I don't think his tactics are bad. Yes, I do agree. In some games, he doesn't manage it well enough. In some games, yeah, and I think those games, for example, the likes of Newcastle, Leeds United, and Sunderland, these three games, yeah, I also think the Bournemouth game as well. We did not manage that game very, very well. So that's why I said a few games. Yeah, for example, the Newcastle game for me was it was just crazy. I think anytime the team struggles to get into the game, I've not seen Carrick to have found a way, maybe make one or two substitutions that will bring us back into the game. Yeah, at that's a point I can actually agree with. But I do think that the most important thing is to win. Yeah, certain games you might not play well. Yeah, you might not be. You don't expect to play well every game. Sometimes you might just have to win a scrappy game and get over the line, right? The most important thing is to get the 3 points or the win. That's all that matters. So I understand that point though, but I think him being on the job, he has to improve. Definitely, he has to improve. That is key. Unique says, "What is your favorite Serie A club?" My favorite Serie A club. I used to like AC Milan, but recently AC has been very, very, very bad. So right now I don't think I have a favorite club in the Italian league right now. I don't think so. Martinez says Madrid are back next season. Yeah, I think Madrid is going to be so much better next season. Madrid will not go 3 seasons in a row without winning a trophy. I don't think so. So I'm very much happy with the appointment of Jose. Yes, we have not gotten an official confirmation of that transfer, but all the major news outlets out there have taken up the story and they've run with it. That Jose Mourinho has agreed a 2-year deal with Real Madrid and he's going to sign for the club after the last game of the season for Real Madrid. So I think it's a good news. And Mourinho, like we all know, he's a serial winner. He's a proven winner, so he's going to do the same thing he's been known for. Hussein Lissit says, "Good morning, Master Noble. Nice to have you back on the channel, Hussein Lissit. Welcome back." CR7 King says, "What a silly fool soon." What do you mean by that? I saw a tweet from Casillas criticizing Mourinho some days ago. Yeah, Iker Casillas doesn't hide his dislike of Jose, right? Because Jose was the manager that made him leave Madrid. So he doesn't like Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho had to replace Casillas. He benched Casillas and was playing. What was this goalkeeper? Is it this Ecuadorian goalkeeper? What's that man's name? I've actually forgotten his name. Jose benched him and was playing. And he was playing. Keylor Navas. Yeah, Keylor Navas is the goalkeeper that Jose used to bench Iker Casillas. And he benched Pepe. Yeah, he benched Pepe and was playing Varane. It didn't go well with Nicolas Pepe. Also, Casillas didn't find that funny. Yeah, so Casillas is actually pushing everything possible to get Jose Mourinho out of the way. Clark says, I think we are going to sign Chomeni ahead instead of Anderson. Chomeni instead of Anderson. I think it will be wise to get both midfielders because we are going to be playing Champions League football next season. Lots of games. We will have close to 60 games or over 60 games to play next season. I think it would be nice for Man United to get Chomeni, if possible, Anderson as well. And I have a new name on my list. I was talking about Matheus Fernandes, but I've had a change of heart. I think if we can get Chomeni, Anderson, and Noah Sadiki of Sunderland, our midfield is going to be wicked next season. Chomeni, Elliot Anderson, and Noah Sadiki of Sunderland. That boy is giving me N'Golo Kante vibes. That boy is energetic. He's aggressive. He can play 90 minutes with the same intensity. And he's still a small boy. I think he should be around 21 or 22 years. He's Congolese. DR Congo. Noah Sadiki, that boy. I've watched him the whole season. It's my first time actually of seeing him in the Premier League. And I watched him in the qualifiers, the playoffs. He played against Nigeria. That boy he's good. He's very, very good. So I think if we can get these three midfielders, sign two attackers, Diomande and possibly one other striker that will compete with Šeško, get one left back and a central defender, maybe Vuskovic or Ballard. Or I don't think we should go for Murillo because Heaven is there and Murillo is left-footed. We should get a right-footed player. Maybe Vuskovic or Ballard is going to be good. CR7 King says, isn't Navas Costa Rican? Yeah, I misplaced his country. Not he's from Costa Rica. You're very correct. CR7 King says, I think Gvardiol disappeared after he slid against Mbappe. Haven't seen him since. Nah, Josko Gvardiol has been injured. That was why Man City went to sign Maguire. I think his first game or second game was was it the final or the game before the final? Yeah, he's been out injured for a very long time. I thought he wasn't even going to appear again this season, maybe from next season. But I guess he had to rush his recovery because of the World Cup. And he was also included in the Croatian squad for the World Cup 2026. Hussein Lissit says, honestly, Man United is on fire. They just need, from my opinion, a center midfielder and attacker. Bro, we don't need only two players because there are still lots of things to be done in that squad. Casemiro is leaving, mind you. Casa is leaving. And we need to replace Casemiro. Very, very important. And I think we should either use Chomeni as his replacement or Elliot Anderson as his replacement. Whichever way we want to see it. But I need us to get those two midfielders. The same job we did last season. Signing three attackers because we couldn't score goals last season. Right? The same job we did getting three attackers. I think we should get three midfielders this time around at Man United. Get three midfielders. Get one central defender, one left back. Diogo Dalot, if we can possibly sell him off, get Munoz from Crystal Palace. Munoz is also a Man United fan. He will give his all for the team. So I think these are the signings we need to make. Yeah, about 6 players. CR7 King says, I forgot we are going to see N'Golo Kante in the World Cup. Yeah, Kante was included in the French squad to play in the FIFA World Cup. Yeah, I'm a big fan of N'Golo Kante. That's why I'm actually pushing for Man United. I've changed my mind. I want us to go for Noah Sadiki. Noah Sadiki is a very, very good player. Fantastic baller. Clark says, if we get Chomeni, we are going to play Champions League football. Yes, we are playing Champions League football next season. So I think it will be it would be nice to have him because he's got the experience and yeah, he's still got the quality. I don't like us going for players that are on a decline. For example, Edouard Camavinga. He was actually omitted by Didier Deschamps from the French squad. So I actually like that. But I just think that we need to be serious with the signings we are getting in this summer. Yeah, last summer was fantastic. We had three attackers and they all had plus 10 goals. Shesko, I think, has 11 goals. Cunha 10 goals. Mbumo 10 goals. So that's 31 goals from our attackers this season. Yeah, it's not really good enough to the level we want, but looking at what we had last season, it's actually an upgrade. And it's the first time in the history of Man United to have three new signings scoring 10 plus goals in their debut season. It's never happened at Man United before, so it's a positive. CR7 King says N'Golo Kante has 0 haters. I think he's one footballer. I don't think there's any footballer ever again that people do not, that you can't have at least a portion of fan base that doesn't hate that player. It's very difficult. But for N'Golo Kante, I've never seen anyone said anything negative about N'Golo Kante. That guy, he's just phenomenal. Honestly, he's a top player. I know his age, he's no longer as vibrant as he was, but yeah, the brother he's top. He's top. Hitesh says Jose Mourinho will break Real Madrid players' ego. Yeah, I said this. He's the right man for the job at Madrid. 100%. He's the right man for the job. So let's see what happens if we are going to see Mourinho Classic at Madrid again. But I think he's going to be successful at Madrid, by the way. Aaron Dineni says hello. Aaron Dineni, welcome back. Clark says not Champions League, champagne football. Okay, maybe I didn't see that well. Okay, champagne. Why? Why did you say we are going to play champagne football if we get Tchouaméni? No, Tchouaméni still has quality. He's one of Madrid's best players this season. Their best performers this season. And he's been very consistent in his performances. It's Camavinga, in my opinion, that has been very terrible this season. And that's why Camavinga didn't make it to the World Cup. He was omitted by Didier Deschamps. Yes, I know he's been injured. Yeah, but he's not had an amazing season. And for Tchouaméni, yes, Tchouaméni most times get injured, but I think this season Tchouaméni didn't get injury. He played loads of games for Madrid. Oli, are you from Australia? Oli says, Oli, welcome to the channel. Riyad Rashad says, Nobu, did you miss me, Nobu? Did I miss you? You're very funny, bro. Nice to have you back, Riyad Mahrez. Honestly, I do feel for Joao Pedro. In all sincerity, I feel for the boy because individually he's had a fantastic season. And being left out of the World Cup, having players like Martinelli make the list. And come on, I just feel that Ancelotti, yeah, he did Joao Pedro dirty there. He did him dirty. Riyad says, don't worry, I won't say this I said before. Okay. The Brazilian squad players who I'll read out the Brazilian squad list for 2026 World Cup. Players who were left out: Joao Pedro, Bento, Andre Santos, Thiago Silva, and also Richarlison was left out of that squad. Now let me read out the full squad of the Brazilian players to go for the World Cup. For goalkeepers, we have Alisson, Ederson, Weverton. So Bento that plays for Al Nassr was dropped. That guy is rubbish. Very nonsense goalkeeper. Then for the defenders, we have Alexandro, Gleison Bremer. We have Danilo. We have Douglas Santos, Gabriel Magalhaes, Ibanez, Leo Pereira, Marquinhos, and Wesley. Then for the midfielders, we have Casemiro. I think he's the captain. I don't know. Okay, I think he's the captain. I don't know if it will be given to Neymar, but he's the captain. Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes, Fabinho, Lucas Paqueta, Danilo Santos. Then for the attackers, we have Endrick, Gabriel Martinelli, Igor Thiago. I think that Martinelli is not supposed to be there. Luis Henrique, Mateus Cunha, Neymar Jr., Rafinha, Vinicius, and Ryan. There are two players there I don't know. That Luis Henrique and Ryan. Which teams do they play for, guys? Because I've been trying to place a face on those names, but I really cannot figure it out. Which team do these guys play for? Ryan and Luis Henrique. Which team do they play for? Yeah, because I've been trying to I'm trying to recall those faces through the names, but I just can't figure it out. Yeah, Enzo Maresca remains the clear candidate to take over the Man City job. And DR Congo also released their squad list for the FIFA World Cup 2026. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka is going to the World Cup, and yeah, it's going to be an amazing and interesting World Cup, honestly. CR7 King says the English will start annoying us with footballs coming home soon. It's a usual mantra for English people. They always say this every time. It's coming home. And England has only won it once. I think it was in 1936? I think is it 1936? No, is it? No, not 36. 1960. No, it was in the 60s actually. When did England win the World Cup last? It was Sir Bobby Charlton and the likes. I think, was this 1966? When did England win the World Cup last? Yeah, I think it's 60 years. Yeah, I think it's 60 years already. Yeah, well, let's see. CR7 says Bobby Charlton, Endrick. Yeah, Bobby Charlton was part of the squad that won the World Cup for the English national team. CR7 says Endrick learns who he was from playing FIFA. Okay, you mean Bobby Charlton. Nah, Bobby Charlton, I think he died, was it 3 years ago? Sir Bobby Charlton, he died about 3 years ago or 4 years ago, by the way. AK Anish Khan, welcome back. Anish Khan says, Nobu bro, I have the biggest what if moment for you. I know your what if moment has to do with Arsenal. What if Arsenal doesn't win the league? So what is your what if moment? I know definitely it has to do with what if Arsenal doesn't win the league. So you can actually ask your what if. Yeah, and we have also there, like I said, guys, there are lots of news on the football world. Fermin Lopez will miss the World Cup. Sport and Mundo Deportivo report. Barcelona midfielder surgery means he will be out for up to 4 to 8 weeks. Ooh. That's a big blow. It's a blow for Fermin Lopez because he's had a fantastic season. And now he's out injured. I think he's undergone a surgery. Yeah, it's not looking good. John, welcome to the channel. Don't spam the chat, John. Kefe Ufakomo says PSG winning the UCL again. Well, they are still the favorites, even though we had news that Ousmane Dembele is injured. Like I said earlier, we don't know the severity of his injury, but he's a big plus to that PSG team. He is their main threat in terms of pressing. So let's see what happens if he's going to be available on the 30th of May when they will lock horns with Arsenal in the final. But for me, I'm still supporting Arsenal to win the final though. I just think this is Arsenal season, so I think they deserve to win it. John says, I am new. All right, John, nice to have you. Where are you connecting from, John? Anishkan says, what if Arsenal loses to Crystal Palace? What if? I think if that happens and Man City wins their game, ooh, it's going to be crazy on the internet. But I think that the Premier League will be decided today. Yeah, the Premier League title will be decided today because I have a very, very strong feeling that Bournemouth will win Man City today. I have a very, very strong feeling. It might sound funny or unrealistic or unpopular, but I definitely think that Bournemouth can get points off City today. Mark Vasily says Zenit 2, Man United 1. Is this Zenit St. Petersburg? CR7 King says Kvara alone will trouble them. Yeah, I think Kvaratskhelia is the major threat for Arsenal in that game because I've been thinking of who is going to mark him. Who will mark Kvaratskhelia off? Urian Timber is not fit. Last season, Timber struggled against him in the semi-finals. So the question now is, who will mark Kvaratskhelia? That's the point. Or will Arteta deploy two players to that wing? Yeah, because for Doué, I think Hincapié or Miles Lewis Kelly can mark Desiree Doué off in that game. Because Desiree Doué has not been at top gear recently. Yeah, but for Kvaratskhelia, I think that boy is a big threat. He's a big threat. Rama Mahid says Premier League first. Anishkan says, and what if Arsenal draws to Palace and then they will have 83 points, and if Man City wins their last two games with Prime Doku, they will also have 83 points. Then who will get the trophy? It now depends on who has more goals. Yeah, because the Premier League is also decided by goals, not head-to-head. It's La Liga that does the head-to-head, but Premier League is by goals. So that means if Arsenal is drawing, if Arsenal plays draw, then if City outscores them, then City wins it. CR7 King says Ben White vs Kvara. Now Ben White is injured. So Ben White will not be available for the Champions League final. He's not going to be available. The only person is Mosquera. And that is why Arteta is trying him out to see if he can give him consistent games on that right wing. I think that is going to be Arsenal's biggest worry. Ashraf Hakimi, we got the news that he might be available for the final. So let's see. Velniz. Where are you connecting from, Velniz? Velniz says Ben White vs Kvara, Maicon vs Bale. Well, I think Ben White still will not be able to mark Kvaratskhelia out of the game. That's just it. And yeah, Ben White has not been amazing as he was in his first season, but yeah, it's still a tough game for them. 2760 says, well, look at Arsenal about to win the league. All you haters in the mud. Well, I'm happy for you guys. So that's just it. It's not easy to go 37 games, you beat top of the league table, and you just have one more game. You don't need to think about what your opponent has to play on that final day. You just have to win. That's all. And I know all Arsenal fans all over the world, they will have their eyes on their televisions tonight for that Bournemouth game at the Vitality Stadium against Man City. It's going to be a very tough game, honestly. It's going to be very, very tough. And Iskan says Saliba and Gabriel have to do the job. I think Saliba has to cover that position very well. Yeah, he has to cover that position very well, because if Kvaratskhelia gets past, let's say, Mosquera, who is the likely person or candidate to fill in that position for Ben White or Julian Timber, I think Saliba doesn't need to give Kvaratskhelia that space. Something like what Upamecano did in their game. And Bayern like to play the high line, but Arsenal seldom play high line. So Arsenal doesn't give you that space for you to come and do that to them. So I think Saliba is going to be very, very crucial, helping out his right back to stop Kvaratskhelia. Verny says, if PSG win, I might think Kvaratskhelia will win Ballon d'Or because he has been clutch. Yeah, Kvaratskhelia has had a fantastic season. Verny says, Arsenal are top haram ball. Cat Bomboclat says, come on you Gunners. Welcome back, Cat Bomboclat. Massive congratulations to you guys yesterday for winning. Even though Kai Havertz was supposed to have been shown a red card, but it is what it is. You guys got it in your favor. So it is what it is. Anishkan says, Barca is really untouchable with Hansi Flick in La Liga. Jose is coming. He's going to turn things around. Anishkan says, Man United playing UCL. Yeah, glory, Man United. Kat Bomboclat says, Timber has started training but obviously would not start against PSG. I think it will be the dumbest decision and the worst decision of Arteta if he tries to force Timber to play that game. He's not fit. Allow him. Just let him be. Use other players. You just have to trust your squad. Use other players. You should not even go and try to see how they can give him some injections to speed up everything. Nah. If you are not fit, you are not fit. It's simple. It's just as simple as that. If you're not fit, you are not fit. Play the guys who are fit and available to play. They will give you everything. You just have to believe in them. Cat Bombo Class says, Timber has... Okay, I've read it. Verny says, UFC fixtures, Chomeni vs. Valverde. Carreras vs. Rudiger. Don Mourinho vs. Kylian Hitler. Ay, God of mercy. Vernice, which football club do you support? Because you're a big Arsenal hater, I can see. And Iskan says, hello, bro. After so many years, Man United going to play UCL. Yeah, after 2 years, we are playing Champions League football again. And it's official. Barcelona confirmed it yesterday that Hansi Flick has signed a new deal at Barcelona until June 2028. So massive congratulations to Hansi Flick. He's a top manager. Honestly, he's a top manager, and I think he's going to win lots of trophies more for Barca. Velniz, which football club do you support? Yeah, let me read out the Croatian squad list for World Cup 2026. For goalkeepers, we have Dominik Livakovic, Dominik Kotarski, and Ivo Pandor. The defenders, Josko Gvardiol, Duje Kaletaka, Josip Sutalo, Josip Stanisic, Marin Pongrasic, Martin Elic, Luka Vuskovic. Then for midfielders, Luka Modric, Mateo Kovacic, Mario Pasalic, Nikola Vlasic, Luka Susic, Martin Baturina. Then Kristijan Jakic, Petar Susic, Nikola Moro, Tony Fruk. Then for the attackers, we have Ivan Perisic. Oh, he's still in the team. Andrej Kramaric, Ante Budimir, Marko Pasalic, Petar Musa, and Igor Matanovic. These Croatian names are always very, very funny to pronounce. Each in all their names. Velniz says, suggest some transfer Xabi Alonso will make to make us invincibles. Okay, you're a Chelsea man. Oh. Chelsea. Well, for Chelsea, I think you guys need a very, very solid defense. Yeah, very, very solid defense. I don't know if Alonso is going to play his 3-man backline. I'm not sure yet what his plan is. But I think Murillo of Nottingham Forest will be a good signing for Chelsea. I would say Chelsea need 2 central defenders. Murillo and Murillo and who again? I don't know if I would say Bastoni, but Bastoni will be too expensive for Chelsea. Though Chelsea has the money. But I would go for Murillo and possibly Ballard or Bastoni. Chelsea needs 2 central defenders. Then for your midfield, who? The Chelsea midfield. Cole Palmer is not delivering. There's no attacking midfielder. There are not lots of attacking midfielders, by the way. Yeah, there are not lots of attacking midfielders now. For midfielders, I would say Chelsea need Adam Wharton. Yeah, I would say Luka Vuskovic. Sorry, not Vuskovic. Ballard, Murillo, Adam Wharton. Then attack. Man, you guys need to sell Jamie Gittins. That boy, I don't even know. Though Garnacho, I know Chelsea will sell him this summer. Nabi Hyacinth says hi. Nabi, welcome to the channel. Nabi. Where are you connecting from? Kat Bombo Clat says Chelsea have their own loan army. They don't need to buy anyone if they want. The guys that are on loan are still little kids. So they need to get quality. It's not about having quantity. It's about having good quality. Velny says we don't need midfield. We are really good as Alonso will play 3-4-3 or 3-4-2-1. Bro, you guys still need a midfield. That's just it. Lavia is never fit. If Lavia was fit, then I would say he can replace Moises Caicedo in certain games. You guys will want to give Moises Caicedo the rest. And Caicedo had a very bad season. Andre Santos, I don't really rate Andre Santos highly. So I think it's just Enzo and Caicedo that have been constant in your midfield. Cole Palmer this season has been rubbish. So the best midfielder for Chelsea this season has been Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez individually has had a fantastic season. The same way Joao Pedro has had a fantastic season up front. Enzo Fernandez in that midfield has been solid. Cat Bomboclat says Chelsea have, okay, I've read it. And Iscan says Alejandro Grimaldo wants to return to Camp Nou at his home club, but we don't have the money to pay the release clause. Barcelona is broke right now, so getting players who are expensive is a problem for them. Verny says no risk on Vuskovic. I think Cowell on one leg can play better. Come on, bro. Now, Luka Vuskovic is a very, very good defender. Yes, I rate Levi Cowell. I think if he was at Chelsea, Chelsea would not have considered the number of goals that they conceded. So, Levi Cowell will be good. But Murillo, Chelsea need Murillo. Murillo is good, aggressive, good on the ball, aerially as well. He's top. So I think Murillo will also be a good signing. Verny says if Enzo leaves, it will be more difficult to find replacement. Paez has really good potential. Yeah, Paez has good potential, but Madrid might get him back. Yeah, Madrid might get him back. I think Madrid might get Paez back. Paez is a very, very good player. Very, very good. So let's see what happens. Cat Bombo Class says Kendrick Paez might get some minutes next season. Okay, not Paez. Is it Paez? This guy that plays for Como. Is it this Paez that plays for Como, that Argentine boy? Because I think Madrid has a first option to buy him back. Verny says Vuskovic can be signed after one season. Well, I know he had a breakthrough season on loan actually in Germany, but some clubs might go in for him. It depends on how he performs at the World Cup. If he does great at the World Cup, then I think many big clubs will go for him. Yeah, they will go for him. Verny says, no, but what do you think? Who will be striker if there is a lot of competition like Emmanuel, Emega, Quenda, Nicholas Jackson? Quenda is not a striker. Quenda is a right winger. I don't think you guys need a proper striker. The best option for Chelsea is to go for somebody like Victor Osimhen. But I don't really know what's up with Chelsea on that. You guys need a proper center forward, in all honesty. You guys need a proper center forward. Guys, give me about 5-6 minutes. I'll be back. Just hold on for 5 minutes. I'll be back shortly. Sorry guys, I am back. Yeah. Velni says, Cat Bomboclat, where are you from? Noble is on vacation. Now I had to do something, yeah. But I'm back. I'm back. Cat Bomboclat says, I have been supporting France since 2006. Second is England because of Arsenal players. And lastly, I chose a very small team for fun, not decided this time. 2006 World Cup. I think that was in Germany, right? Yeah, it was the Germany 2006 World Cup. And Italy were the winners of that World Cup. Yeah, that was a very very interesting World Cup. Zizou, I remember that head boot on Materazzi in the final, and he was sent off, and that denied him the Ballon d'Or that year. They gave it to Fabio Cannavaro. Cat Bombo Clan says EPL has changed, more possession as a team. I'm from Twitch. I stream under the name Friendon Kulos, currently playing Cyberpunk. Do people play game on Twitch? I thought Twitch is just a normal streaming platform. Art Gallery says, hi mates. Art Gallery, nice to have you on the channel. Where are you connecting from, Art Gallery? Where are you connecting from? Ciezo Capfo says, England had no chance to win the World Cup. They played were like so selfish. I think I have England as my number 3 in terms of countries that I think will lift the World Cup. Portugal for me is number 1. Number 2 is Spain. In terms of countries I think will win it, Spain is number 2, England number 3, France number 4. Brazil, I will go with 5. Then Argentina. I don't really think Argentina will go all out for the World Cup. Yeah, but I might just have them as number 6 because they are the current champions of the world. So let's see. Cat Bombo Clat says, I hate Materazzi. Portugal have the best midfield. Materazzi in that World Cup 2006, it was a crazy one though. It was a crazy World Cup, honestly. Yeah, Zizou sent off. I actually wanted France to win that game, but yeah, sadly they lost to Italy in that game. Portugal have the best midfield. Yes, I think when it comes to the World Cup, France has the best attack. Portugal has the best midfield. Which country would I say have the best defense in the World Cup? I don't know if I would say the Netherlands, but Van Dijk for me is no longer at that high level he was. Yeah, he's no longer at that high level he was. So I don't think I'll give it to the Netherlands in terms of defense. So guys, let me know in the chat which country has the best defense. Portugal, I agree, they have the best midfield. France has the best attack. So which country has the best defense? Velni says, imagine a stadium with 60,000 capacity in championship. You mean Spurs or West Ham? Yeah, it's West Ham that is definitely going to go down. West Ham are definitely going down for sure. They are going to go down because I don't see West Ham coming out of that hole they are currently in. I do not see them, honestly. I don't see West Ham. Ciezo Capfo says, who is the most underrated player today? The most underrated player today. The most underrated player. Which player is most underrated currently? The most underrated. I'm trying to think out a name. Who is the most underrated player? I will have to go with Bruno Fernandes. Yes, I will have to go with Bruno Fernandes because the amount of disrespect I see when Bruno's name comes up is just crazy. Yeah, people disrespect Bruno Fernandes a lot, and especially people who are not Man United fans. Yeah, people underrate him, and they always compare him with players like Declan Rice, and I see that as a disrespect. Honestly, I think Bruno is underrated. Honestly, I think he's underrated because I see no reason why people will be comparing him to Dec. It's crazy. Honestly. But I think aside Bruno, there is no name that is actually coming on in my head right now. Velny says Germany has best goalkeeper. Nah, Germany doesn't have best goalkeeper. I think Spain has the best goalkeepers. I don't know who the Spain coach is going to use as number one. Is it Raya or Garcia or Unai Simon? I think Unai Simon is rubbish. Unai Simon is very, very bad. So it's between Raya and Garcia that the coach will choose from. But I think that David Raya deserves that starting spot for Spain because in the whole of Europe, there is no goalkeeper that has performed better than him the whole season. Velny says France has the best defense. Saliba, Koundé, Gusto, Upamecano, Hernandez brothers. Come on, bro. I think that defense is the weak link of that French national team. And Upamecano, in my opinion, is the most overrated defender player. Dayot Upamecano. That guy is filled with calamities and mistakes. I don't rate him. I know he's going to start for France in the World Cup 100%, but Upamecano, in my opinion, is too overrated. King BM says United are the Champions League. Yeah, bro. We are in the Champions League. Very, very important for Man United to get Champions League football. At least we get to sign the players we want to sign. Yeah, we get to sign the players we want to sign. So it's really, really nice to get Champions League football. Honestly, very, very important. It's very, very important. Yeah. So let's see how far Man United can actually go in the Champions League. Let's see how far they can go. Kat Bombo Clat says no, Bruno is not underrated. Now, lots of people underrate Bruno. Vernier says Germany has best goalkeeper. Now, Mane Neuer, I don't know if it's Neuer that is the current goalkeeper, but I heard that Neuer will be called back to the German national team. I would say for the best goalkeeper, it's Spain. David Raya, in my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in world football right now. He's the best. So I think, he deserves that number one spot for Spain. Ciezo Capfo says, I think Kvaratskhelia, PSG star, is the most underrated player today. Kvaratskhelia? Nah. Lots of people rate Kvaratskhelia very, very highly. So I don't think he's in that category. Nah, lots of people do rate him very, very highly. Yeah. Pradni Anna Wijaya says, hello bro, I'm from Indonesia. Nice to have you on the channel. Which team do you support? Pradni, which team do you support? Are you from Bali in Indonesia? Emad says, you are the one that said that You are the one that said that, but on my opinion, Raya is not the best in the whole Europe. So which goalkeeper in your opinion is the best goalkeeper in the whole of Europe? Imat, tell me in your opinion. I already gave mine, right? Who do you think is the best goalkeeper in the whole Europe this season? Who do you think is the best goalkeeper? Joy says England has the best midfield player: Bellingham, Eze, Rice, Palmer, etc. Nah, Portugal has the best midfield. Portugal has the best midfield. Yes, England has some decent midfielders, but I would definitely pick the Portuguese midfield ahead of the English one. 100%. I'll pick the guys in the Portuguese team ahead of their England counterparts. Youssef Ahmad says, are we going to win the Premier League with Manchester United? Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibilities. It's still very much possible, but it all depends on the signings Man United is going to make in the summer. It all depends on the signings we are going to make. Yeah, because Man United, I think there is a lot we need to do. Yeah, we need to do a lot. Cave Critter says, who will win the Saudi Arabia Pro League? Of course, it has to be Al Nassr, because if they fail to win it, then I think it's all over for Ronaldo at Al Nassr. He just has to live there. Cat Bomboclat says, again, Brazil has the best defense. Brazil. It's just Marquinhos. So who else is in the Brazil defense? Now, I don't think the Brazil defense is the best. It's just Marquinhos, Sandro. Nah. I don't think it's Brazil. I would even say the Netherlands has a better defense than Brazil. Velny says Neymar don't deserve World Cup spots. Igor Thiago or Joao Pedro. That's why I think he's bad at this time. I honestly think that Neymar deserves it. Yeah. And the reason I say this is because it's not that Neymar is going to start all games for Brazil in the World Cup. No. But his experience is very, very much needed. And there are certain points in the tournament that you need experience. Maybe you are struggling to get a goal. You need to unlock a defense to either get a winning goal or get an equalizer, whichever one it is. The main thing is to get a player that can unlock that defense for you. And we know that Neymar's quality is still there. Yes, you can say physically he's not been available in terms of appearances in the past, let's say 1 year or 2 years, but you cannot deny Neymar's quality. You can't. So I think Neymar is not going to start all the games for Brazil in the World Cup. That's for sure. But I sincerely think that Neymar is going to play a key role for Brazil. He's going to play a key role. So let's see what is going to happen in the World Cup if he gets... he's already gotten the opportunity because he was included in that squad. But I think that Joao Pedro deserved to be on that squad as well, because individually Joao Pedro has had a fantastic season. Yeah, he scored 20 goals and assisted 6 times. So I sincerely think that the young man actually deserves a spot in the Brazil squad for the World Cup. But yeah, the decision is Ancelotti's and he's made his decision. But I think Martinelli is not supposed to be on that list. Yeah, if you're going with Neymar because of the experience, and in World Cup, you need the experienced players to come through for you. Right? Yeah, so I just think that Neymar going is a statement. Yeah, Ancelotti already knows that Neymar is not going to play all games. For example, look at if you watch the Casemiro interview with Rio Ferdinand last week. He said it when Rio Ferdinand asked him if the decision actually stops on your table, will you take will you take Neymar to the World Cup? And Casemiro said yes, of course, that he will take Neymar to the World Cup, but he will not play all the games. But when it is tight, when you actually need to unlock a defense, then the best candidates to bring in, now Brazil doesn't even have such player. The best candidate to bring in is Neymar Jr. So I think it's not a bad decision to leave him out of the squad. But I think for Joao Pedro should not have been left out of that Brazil squad. In all honesty, I don't think that's the right decision. Though there are two other names I don't know. I've not seen them play. That is Luis Enrique, and one other name. I've forgotten that attacker. I've not seen. I don't know if he plays in Brazil. I guess maybe they play for Brazil. Yeah, I think maybe they play for Brazil. I'm trying to look for the boy's name. Yeah, Ryan. Yes, Ryan. Which team does Ryan play for? Because I don't know him. Also, Luis Enrique. I don't know these two guys. I think they play in the Brazilian league. Maybe you guys can help me out with it. I don't know those two guys. So I think Joao Pedro should have gotten on that list. Honestly, he should have, because the whole essence of picking players for the World Cup is not players that their teams won everything. It's individually. Individually, what did you do? That's the point. What did you do individually? Cave Quitter says a team can't win a World Cup by just a goated player. It's a team game. Yes, I agree with you. It's a team game. But at some point in that competition, you might have need for a player that can unlock defenses, maybe through one skill or a pass, or possibly score a goal. Yeah, I know football is a team sport. Is a team sport, but honestly, I just think it's not a wrong decision. It's not a wrong decision. I don't disagree with that. The only point I disagree with is leaving Joao Pedro out. I think Martinelli, the Arsenal attacker, should not have been on that list, because individually Martinelli hasn't had an amazing season. Yes, Arsenal is going to win the league and Martinelli will win his first league title, right? But individually, what has been his impact? How many goals has he scored this season? How many assists has Martinelli gotten this season? These are the things we should be looking at. Velny says only Arsenal like Martinelli. Arsenal fans don't even like Martinelli. There are lots of Arsenal fans I know that come on my channel and say that Martinelli should be sold. There are lots of Arsenal fans like that. So it's not even about Arsenal fans liking Martinelli. Lots of Arsenal fans no longer want him at their club. It's just simple. Many of them don't want him. Chris Mark says, hey brother, who do you think is going to win the World Cup? I've been saying Portugal for long, and I'll still stand by Portugal. I still have them as my favorites to win the World Cup. Cat Bomber Class says, you'll be surprised by Martinelli. Yeah, I think Martinelli is the most underrated in the world. Most underrated. Martinelli his quality is rubbish, honestly. Velny says, Cunha would have played attacking midfielder, and on striker Joao Pedro, they will have been so better. I think he will start with Cunha as a striker. Maybe Hendrick come on later. I don't know about that, but I just feel some way you should have a room for Joao Pedro. The boy has had a fantastic season, even though Chelsea have been rubbish, right? I get it, Chelsea have been rubbish, but it's individual performances that you should be looking at, not the fact that he played in a very rubbish team this season. Nate Stevens says, what do you think of Nigeria being out of the World Cup? Why teams like Comoros are in? Well, it's a shame that Nigeria, my country, they did not make it to the World Cup. That game against DR Congo in the finals of the African playoffs, Nigeria are very poor. So solely on that game, they didn't deserve to go to the World Cup because you cannot play that bad and expect to be in the World Cup. DR Congo actually showed they needed it more than Nigeria. So I don't like it that we are not in the World Cup. True, but I don't have I wouldn't say those who have gone, for example, DR Congo that took that spot. I wouldn't say they don't deserve it. They deserve it because they actually played better and won Nigeria in that game, even though it went into extra time, but they still won us. So it's just football. Next time Nigeria need to do better from the onset to qualify direct. Joy says Brazil has Neymar support, Argentina has best team chemistry, Portugal has midfield, England has strong team value, France has strong attack, Spain has the best young stars. That's a good write-up though. That's a good one. Cave Critter says a team can win World Cup by just a goated player. It's a team game. Yes, I think I've already read that. Christmas says, did you hear Neymar injury history? He at least had 30 injuries all his life. What's that about? Yeah, Neymar's injury record is so poor. Yeah, I just got a notification now, guys. Enzo Maresca has accepted to be the Man City manager for next season. Man, that's interesting. Multiple sources are putting this out today. Kat Bomboclat says, you need better football knowledge, Nobu. Ryan had a great season, young player. Ryan, for Bournemouth. I watched Bournemouth's game very well. And that Ryan. Was he the person they used to replace Semenyo? Because I know the attack, it's mainly Evan Nissen is still there. Evan Nissen is still there. It's Otara that has left. Dango Otara has left. Bournemouth have been fantastic. I know about that, but that Ryan guy, honestly, I'm surprised. I don't know. I thought he was a player from the Brazilian league. Arsenal says France will win the World Cup. Noble agree. Nah, France is not winning the World Cup. Their defense is rubbish. Yes, they have the best attack, but attacks alone can't win you tournaments like the World Cup. You have to make sure your defense is solid and your goalkeeper is. And France doesn't have a good goalkeeper. Mike Maignan is rubbish. Very rubbish goalkeeper. Kat Bomboclat says, I love Martinelli. Martinelli plays on the wing. Joao Pedro striker. Martinelli brings energy. Joao Pedro can also play on the wing. Right, left wing and up front. He is versatile. Sometimes even for Chelsea, he plays in the midfield. He's a very, very versatile. He's a very, very versatile player. So I just think that for me, Martinelli, well, he's just lucky to go to the World Cup. Velny says Martinelli is shit, although he wasn't gonna play a single game. Kalbombo class says, when you eat your words, my friend Nobu, about Martinelli after the World Cup, remember to acknowledge that Martinelli is good. He is fresher than many other players as he got less game time. Bro, I've watched Martinelli for years. There is nothing more I need to see about him. I know Martinelli's game. I've watched him for how many years? I think maybe for 4 to 6 years? Maybe under 6 years though, but between 4 to 6 years. I've watched him ever since he came into the Arsenal first team up till this very time. So there is nothing you're telling me about Gabriel Martinelli that I have not seen or that I do not know. So I don't need to see more. I've already seen enough. I don't need to see 10 years of a player to know he's got it or not. Martinelli is just an average footballer. That's it. He's just average. No two ways about it. Velny says, feel for Nigeria, they were having great players like Osimhen etc. Nigeria had the opportunity to make it to the World Cup, but I think the former coach just messed things up. He had issues with Victor Osimhen, and they couldn't sort their. He couldn't harness the players he had in his disposal, and that was it. Chris Mark says, what's your opinion on Iran proposing to play the World Cup only in Mexican fields? You already know why. And also, if FIFA didn't comply with that, they would be replaced with Italy, but Italy refused. I've actually not seen that Italy refused. And also the news about Iran requesting to play only on Mexican fields. I also have not seen that news. Yeah, I've not seen that news. But I've seen the news where the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, announced that Iran will be playing the 2026 World Cup in the US, Canada, and Mexico. But for the other part, I've not seen the other news. Kriezo Kafo says, Pep is not leaving City. I would let him leave. Now, Pep is leaving City, and I just got a notification now that Enzo Maresca has agreed a deal to sign as the new City manager once Pep leaves at the end of the season. So it's been confirmed. Lots of more news outlets are going to carry that news. Chris Mark says, do you see shameful entering World Cup for another nation only because they forfeit? Well, it's the rules are the rules. If it falls in your favor, you just have to go with it. If Italy doesn't want to go to the World Cup, then another team should be picked. That's it. Another team should be picked. Joy says, and Croatia has luck. Netherlands can become a stopper for big team. Germany can be a game changer. Uruguay will not dominate for sure. Argentina has best team chemistry. I don't see Argentina as a threat in this 2026 World Cup. I don't see them. Yes, I know they are the current holders of the title, but I don't see Argentina being a threat in this year's World Cup. I don't see them. Real Dandy says, wasn't Mike Maignan in the Euros best 11? I really can't remember that, but personally, I do not rate that brother. I think he's a very, very terrible goalkeeper. If he's going to be the main goalkeeper for France in the World Cup, I think France would probably get knocked out before, let's say, in the knockout stages of round of 16, I would say. Yeah, France for me, with Mike Maignan, they are going nowhere. They are going absolutely nowhere. Fala says Messi or Mbappe. Of course, it has to be Messi because you cannot compare Messi and Mbappe. The only player you can put side by side with Messi is Cristiano. And for me, Cristiano, like you all know, is the GOAT for me. Yeah. Fala says, please reply, Man United is playing. Man United is not playing now, bro. Man United will play this weekend on the 23rd against Brighton and Hove Albion. Last game of the season. Guys, today is match day. We have Chelsea playing against Tottenham at Stamford Bridge. And also the biggest game, Bournemouth against Manchester City. I think that game is going to decide the league title. Yeah, the games that we have today, Bournemouth against Man City, is going to decide the league title, who wins it. Yeah, because I think that Bournemouth are going to get points off City today. Then for the Chelsea game against Tottenham Hotspur at Stamford Bridge, that game is going to decide who is going to be relegated. Yeah, so I think it's going to be an interesting game. And tomorrow, we have the finals of the Europa League, right? Yes, the Europa League final is tomorrow. Freiburg against Aston Villa. I think Villa are going to win that final. Yeah, Villa will win it because Unai Emery is a very, very experienced manager. And when it comes to the Europa League, just leave it for Unai Emery. And Unai Emery has done fantastic. Aston Villa's net spend this season was just around 23 or 30 million pounds. Their net spend. And they've already qualified for the Champions League. That's not easy. They've already qualified for the Champions League. So Aston Villa has had a fantastic season. Giga Chad says, even if Mbappe didn't change anything, what will Jose Mourinho do? Jose Mourinho definitely has the charisma to handle those boys. Yes, I know there are lots of egos in Madrid. Jose has a higher ego, and some people are actually saying that that will cause issues in the dressing room because of Jose is an egotistic person. But I don't think that's going to be the case. He will still be able to handle those boys because he's handled bigger players than those guys who are actually levels ahead of those Madrid players now. Real Dandy says, never forgiving Ancelotti. London is always blue. Joao was perfect. Yeah, there are lots of Chelsea fans on the internet that are saying that they will be hate watching Brazil games because of the fact that Carlo Ancelotti omitted their best player this season, Joao Pedro. I honestly think that Joao Pedro deserved to be in that Brazil squad list. Yeah, he deserved to be on that list because, come on, man, he's had a fantastic season. The World Cup is about individual performance. At least for you to get into the squad for your country, you have to perform very, very well individually. CR7 King says France and Uruguay, Chomeni Valverde. Slimano says Mourinho is your uncle. Of course, I love Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho is a fantastic coach. Yeah, even though some people still think he doesn't have it anymore, but I definitely still rate Mourinho. Yeah, I still rate Mourinho. A winner is a winner always. I think Jose is a winner, so you really cannot downplay his impact. The impact he's going to have in the Madrid team, you really cannot downplay it, honestly. But let's see what happens, though. Let's see what happens. I think Jose is going to be a success at Madrid, 100%. He's going to be a success. So let's see what happens. Intergalactic says, good morning, Noble. Good morning to you too, Intergalactic. Jija Chad says, if he was a boxer, would you teach Valverde how to fight? why, why do I have to teach Federico Valverde how to fight? He was actually knocked out by his teammate, Chomeni. That was actually very, very surprising to hear, though. Fala says, UAE will win the World Cup. Did Saudi Arabia qualify for the World Cup? Falal, did your country qualify for the World Cup? Cat Bomboclat says, don't tell Paul joke, Falal. Joy, welcome back. Guys, let's get the likes up. Let's get it up. Let's get it up. I think we might see a couple of surprises, though, in the World Cup. Chris Mark says, one question. Who who in your opinion had better luck? Miami joining, is it Messi joining Inter Milan, Inter Miami, or Cristiano joining the Al Nassr in terms of titles, lifting the league and personal development? Of course, Messi has won, I think, is it 2 or 3 titles with Inter Miami, so he's had a better spell at Inter Miami more than Ronaldo. Hopefully, Ronaldo wins the league title this season. They were defeated by Gamba Osaka in the AFC Champions League 2. Yes, it was a big disgrace because it was a very, very big disgrace because lots of people didn't expect that Al Nassr was going to lose to a second division Japanese team, Gambas Osaka. It was crazy. Kat Bomboclat says, what if Pep would take over Madrid? Imagine. Nah, Pep is a Barca man through and through. He's a Catalonia man, so definitely he cannot take over Madrid. No way. I think he's a very, very loyal person. Most of those Spanish guys, in terms of Barcelona and Madrid, they are very, very loyal. So I don't think that Pep will ever coach Madrid now. Not happening. Real Dandy says, what happens if Man City draws today? I've been saying this for the longest. Man City are not going to win AFC Bournemouth. Honestly, Man City are not winning AFC Bournemouth. And I've said this for weeks now. When it happens, I'm still going to repeat it. I don't see Man City winning that game against AFC Bournemouth tonight. People might see it as I have a crazy take, but that's just how I see the game. It's either Bournemouth wins that game or it's a draw. Joy says, Lautaro Martinez of Inter Milan or Julian Alvarez, Doku or Rafael Leao, Semenyo or Mbumo of Man United, Luis Suarez of Sporting or Victor Gyökeres, Mbappe or Yamal, Haaland or Harry Kane. For Lautaro Martinez and Julian Alvarez, mainly because of the age, and Alvarez, I still think his ceiling is very high. So I'll go with Julian Alvarez. Doku, Rafael Leao, it's not even a debate. I'll go for Jeremy Doku. Semenyo or Mbumo, I'll go for Antoine Semenyo. Then Luis Suarez of Sporting, I've not really watched that guy much. So I just have to go with what I already know and what I see, which is Gyökeres. Then Mbappe or Yamal, of course it has to be Kylian Mbappe. Then Haaland or Kane. I think for this season, I will pick Harry Kane. But yeah, all around giving me lots of goals, I definitely will go with Erling Haaland. Kat Bombo Class says, Noble, Saudi Arabia and UAE are different countries, man. Yes, okay, I think maybe I made a mistake that time. The UAE, of course, I know the UAE. UAE is Dubai. Yeah, Saudi Arabia is Riyadh. Yeah, Saudi Arabia is different. It's the capital of the Middle East, actually. The Middle East, Saudi Arabia is like the capital. It's one of the biggest. The king? Is it Mohammed Salman? Yeah, I think Mohammed bin Salman is the king of Saudi, the Saudi king. Vanessa says, hello, 2 a.m. here. Vanessa, are you connecting from the US? Because I think it's the time in the United States. Vanessa, are you connecting from the United States? Real Dandy says, no, I'm trying to say if Man City draws today, will Arsenal win the league? Then, nah, Arsenal will not win it. Yeah, Arsenal will not win the league today if Man City draws. The only way Arsenal wins the league is if Manchester City loses. Yeah. That's the only way Arsenal wins the league. If Man City loses that game to Bournemouth, then Arsenal will be champions. Yeah, the trophy will be brought to the Emirates. Is it no? Sorry, not the Emirates, because Arsenal are actually playing away. So the city, the trophy will be brought to the Palace home at Selhurst Park. Yeah, but if it's a draw, you guys just need Arsenal just need. You are a Chelsea man, so Arsenal just needs one more point. Just a draw against Crystal Palace would do. Vanessa says, yes, it's 1:52 here, a.m. Okay. Which city in the US are you connecting from? Which part of the US are you connecting from? Real Dandy says, why do you think that Man City isn't going to beat Bournemouth at all? Now, the reason I see Man City not being able to beat them is because Bournemouth are on a very, very good run of form. I think for 15 or 16 games now, they've not lost a single match. They've not lost a single match. And I think that should be since Semenyo left. Yeah. You know, before Semenyo left, they were losing lots of games. They were losing or drawing, losing, drawing. They dropped lots of points. But I think since January, they've had a very, very long run that they've not lost a game in about 15 or 16 games. That's a lot. So I think that is an advantage. And also the fact that they have to perform to win a game, and if they win that game, it's going to decide who wins the league title and who doesn't win it. So I think we are going to see something dramatic today between Bournemouth and Man City today at the Vitality Stadium. Kat Bomboclad says, what rubbish? If Man City draws, Arsenal win, goal difference. Arsenal are currently 5 points, right? Yeah, Arsenal are currently 5 points ahead of Man City. Yeah, let me check my table again to be very, very sure. Now, I will have to open my table again to be very, very sure. Arsenal has 82 points, while Manchester City has 77 points. So that is 5 points. If Man City draws that game, then Arsenal has won the league. If Man City draws, Arsenal has won the league. Now, if Man City wins that game, they are up 80 points. So, if Man City plays a draw today, they have lost the league. Yeah. Now, Arsenal is not winning on goal difference. It's going to be on points because Arsenal are currently 5 points ahead of City. If City draws, it becomes 4 points, and one game is just 3 points. So Arsenal need Bournemouth to win Man City or for the game to end a draw. If it's a draw game, then Arsenal has already won the league because it will be 4 points ahead of City. Yes, Real Dandy, you are very correct. If City draws, Arsenal wins the league. Joy says, Musiala or Adagule, Lewandowski or Osimhen, Joao Pedro, Gabriel Magalhaes or Marquinhos, KDB or Modric, Kvaratskhelia or Olise, Saka or Foden this season. Saka, I would pick Saka ahead of Foden. Let me start from the last names. Saka ahead of Foden. Then I will go for Olise and Kvaratskhelia. It's tough, but I will go with Michael Olise. KDB, Modric. Both players, I don't want to pick any of them because they are old, and yeah, I know Modric is actually older, but this season, not really. So I'm not going to pick any from them. Then Marquinhos, Gabriel. I'll go for Gabriel Magalhaes, Joao Pedro, Osimhen or Lewandowski. Of course, it has to be Victor Osimhen for me, based on this season. Lewandowski, all-round, career-wise, is a better player and a better goal scorer, but for this season. Musiala or Adagule. Musiala has had a very, very terrible injury. So I'm not going to go for him because of the injuries he's had. Yeah, but Adagule has been fantastic this season. So I'll pick Adagule ahead of Yamal Musiala. Kat Bomboclat says, if Man City and Bournemouth draw, Arsenal win 5 points up. If Man City draw, they will need 4 points from last game. Now, if Man City draws that game, it will not be 5 points. It will be 4 points because Arsenal are currently 5 points ahead of City. So if City plays draw against Bournemouth, it has to be minus 1 point. So that's going to be 4 points for Arsenal top of the league. So even if Arsenal loses their game against Crystal Palace, it's still going to be the league title. So if City plays draw today, it's all over. Arsenal just need Bournemouth to draw or win City. But I think the draw might be what Bournemouth. Yeah, I think draw is what they might get today. So let's see what happens. Manju says, Ronaldo, what you say about him? Ronaldo is the greatest of all time in my opinion, and I think he's not had a fantastic season as he would love at Al Nassr. Losing that final a couple of days ago, it pained him really badly, and I know he'll push his attention now to the league title. Yeah, because they need to win their last match for them to win it, to lift the trophy. So let's see. Kat Bomboclat says, I meant goal different doesn't matter. Okay, I thought you said that they were going to win on goal difference. So that was why I said at that point where City are dropping points today, Arsenal don't care about goal difference. Goal difference doesn't matter. Biju says, United trash, not gonna lie, only Mbumo is good. Biju, welcome back to the channel, Biju. Real Dandy says, being a Chelsea fan, Arsenal deserves to lift a trophy. They've suffered a lot. That is the only reason I'm actually pushing for Arsenal to win the league title, because those guys have gone through a lot. I mean a lot. Arsenal has actually suffered. So I think they deserve a trophy. Arsenal actually deserve a trophy because, man, it's not been easy for them. It's not been easy. Chelsea are currently 10th position. Chelsea will need to win against Tottenham today to come up to 9th. Okay, if Chelsea win today, yeah, they will come up to 8th position, and that is Conference League. Wow. Well, let's see if Tottenham is going to allow Chelsea to win, because Tottenham need a draw, I think. Let me look at it. West Ham have 20. Okay. Yeah, Tottenham just need to get a draw against Chelsea to qualify, to stay up. They need a draw because Tottenham have -9 goal difference while West Ham has -22. That's a lot. So they cannot come back from that. So Tottenham just needs to get a draw to qualify. Manju says, what if Arsenal draw and City win 2 games? The goal difference is same. The goal difference for Arsenal and Man City is the same. If Arsenal plays draw and Man City win their next 2 games, which is the Bournemouth game and their last game, then Man City will win it, of course, because if Arsenal plays draw, that means their goal difference is still going to be 43-43. And if Man City win their 2 games, let's say they win it 1-0, so it will be 44 goals, and win their second game 1-0, it will be 45 goals. So definitely Man City will win it if they win their next 2 and Arsenal draw their last game. Joy says, if you had to bring prime Neymar or prime Wayne Rooney in Man United, what would you do? Of course, it has to be Wayne Rooney. Yeah, it has to be prime Wayne Rooney. Yeah, for sure. It has to be prime Wayne Rooney. Yo, guys, let's get the likes up. I'll be ending the stream in less than 20 minutes. So I need us to get the likes up, guys. Let's get it up. Like I said, we have two matches today. Yeah, we have two matches today. And those matches are actually very, very, very interesting matches. The biggest game is the Bournemouth game against Man City. Mikel Arteta said that he's going to watch the Bournemouth game and he's Bournemouth's biggest fan. He said he's going to watch it with his family and they are getting Arsenal support. And not only Mikel Arteta, all the Arsenal fans all around the world, all Arsenal fans are going to watch that game around the world. So let's see what happens if Bournemouth will surprise everybody or Man City will actually win it. Yeah, let's see what will happen. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. A minute, guys, a minute. Arsenal 2003 says, hello, man. Welcome back, brother. Welcome back. You guys were very, very, well, you guys were very lucky yesterday with that red card. Kai Havertz should have seen a red card yesterday. Real Dandy says, the Premier League is much more complex than La Liga. Yeah, the Prem is really crazy. Yeah, and I think next season, we are going to have an unpredictable league chase next season. It's going to be very, very unpredictable. Real Dandy says, Arteta going to pass out if Arsenal wins. Of course, Mikel Arteta is going to pass out because if you watch that Arsenal game yesterday against Burnley, immediately the referee blew the final whistle. You can see the reaction on Mikel Arteta's face. Yeah, his blood pressure will definitely go high. Definitely. CR7 King says Prime Rooney before head transplant. Yeah, Rooney, Prime Rooney was crazy, man. He was, and Rooney does everything. He's a complete player. He does everything. Arsenal 2003 says, Arsenal's representative Mikel Arteta is watching the Bournemouth vs Manchester City game. Yeah, not only Mikel Arteta, you yourself as an Arsenal fan, you'll be watching that game. Every Arsenal fan will be glued to their televisions or their screens to watch that match because if Man City draws that game or loses the game, then Arsenal will win the league title. But it only goes into the last game of the season if Man City wins. Then it will be 2 points ahead of Man City. Right? So you guys will be rooting for Bournemouth to win. Arteta has already said it. He didn't deny it. He said he's going to be watching that Bournemouth game with his family. And they are rooting for Bournemouth to beat Man City. Guys, give me 1 minute. I need to answer this call. Yeah, sorry guys. I had to answer that. It was a business call, so I had to respond to that. Real Dandy says only people who actually watch football will watch today. Yes. I think every football fan in the Premier League has to watch this Bournemouth game against Manchester City at the Vitality Stadium. Every football fan has to watch it because it's a game that decides who wins the league. So it's going to be interesting. Joy says Valverde or Rice, Lautaro Martinez or Gyökeres, Joao Pedro or Ekitike, Van Dijk or Mickey van der Ven, Mateus Cunha or Ferran Torres, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, Griezmann or Frankie de Jong. I have to pick Valverde over Declan Rice. Lautaro Martinez ahead of Victor Gyökeres. Ekitike ahead of Joao Pedro. Van Dijk ahead of Van der Ven. Cunha ahead of Ferran Torres. Michael Jordan ahead of LeBron James. And Antoine Griezmann ahead of Frankie de Jong. Jonathan Quinn says, Arsenal champions. Why are Arsenal the worst team to win it? I don't agree with that logic. Yeah, that logic, lots of people have been talking about. I really do not agree to that. You win. There's nothing like being the worst winners. It doesn't make sense to me. CR7 says, justice for Umtiti. Is this Samuel Umtiti? Real Dandy says, Premier League is real football. Yeah, the Prem is always very interesting. CR7 King says, Prime Neymar was better though. He was doing some unseen stuff. I just think Rooney is more complete because I love Neymar, and you can say, yeah, Rooney, Neymar, in terms of goals, he scored more goals than with Rooney, but yeah, Rooney can defend for you. He can pass. He can score. Like, Rooney does everything. Rooney does everything. CR7 King says he's doing a business call. Yeah, I had to answer business call. Joy says girlfriend now. Joy, are you Nigerian? Jonathan says bad business. Any United fan bad. What do you mean by bad business, Jonathan Quinn? Capital Palmera says Neymar Jr. has been called up to the Brazilian national team. Yes, and I'm really happy for Neymar Jr. Honestly, I'm very much happy for him because I think he's had a fantastic career. Let this be his last dance. Yeah, I think it should be his last dance for the Samba boys. So it's really a good decision from Ancelotti to get Neymar to be on that plane that would go to the World Cup. So I think it's the right decision. But I don't like the fact that he omitted Joao Pedro, because I think Pedro should have been on the plane to the World Cup, but it's just so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate. Sunday Wilson says hi. Welcome back, Sunday Wilson. Nice. Wisdom, sorry, not Wilson. Wisdom. CR7 King says Mickey Van Dijk. Van Dijk is better. Of course, Van Dijk is better than Mickey van der Ven. 100%. He's better. Joy says, yeah, me from South Africa. Okay, South Africa. Which part of South Africa are you from? Cape Town, Pretoria, or Johannesburg? Decoded Original says, hi, bro. Decoded, nice to have you on the channel. Where are you connecting from, Decoded? Where are you connecting from? CR7 King says, Neymar's biggest mistake was PSG, and that transfer changed player prices forever. Yeah, he just went to PSG to to enjoy himself and make money. And PSG paid him really, really well. Okay, Joy, you're from Cape Town. Okay, nice to have you on the channel. Decoded says India. All right, Decoded, which part of India are you from? Kerala, Shillong, Kolkata, West Bengal, Mumbai. Where exactly? Decoded Punjab says, Decoded Original says from Punjab. Okay, Punjab. Yeah, I have lots of people who are from Punjab on my channel, so it's really nice to have you. There are lots of Indians on my channel. India used to be number 2, but right now Nigeria has gone up and India has come down to number 3. So it's nice to have you on the channel. Which football team do you support? CR7 King says, Joy is beefing the Boers in South Africa. Joy says, Neymar's biggest mistake was not PSG. Neymar's biggest mistake was not focusing on his health. If he did some gym, he could have torn other ACL. Okay, you support Man United, Decoded Originals. All right. I'm also a Man United fan, though. And I know Man United has lots of fans in India. India, China, I think those are the two countries Man United has the biggest fan base. India and China. Massive fan base for Man United there. Arsenal 2003 says, brother, what's your prediction for Bournemouth versus Manchester City? Well, I already said this. I predicted a 2-1 win for AFC Bournemouth against Man City. And I stand by it. But I'm pretty sure that City are not winning that game. It's either a draw or Bournemouth wins it. City is not going to win that game. And the Vitality Stadium is going to be really, really loud. City are going to struggle in that game. Decoded says, we playing Champions League football finally. Yes, bro. After 2 years. After 2 years. Arsenal 2003 says, AFC Bournemouth for Man City 2. The internet is going to explode tonight. If this happens, the internet is going to explode. Honestly, it's going to explode. Arsenal's fans their joy will know no bound. It's going to be crazy. Honestly. Oluwatobi Ogunniyi says, sir, why did Maguire is not in England squad for 2026 World Cup? I don't think England has released their squad. Now, England has not released it. Let me check. As at last night, England has not, except maybe it was released this morning. Let me check. England squad for the World Cup. Chat, let me know, has England released the squad list for the World Cup? Because I've not seen the England squad. I've not seen the England squad list. Yeah, Cunha with his family watching the squad presentation by Ancelotti. Joy says, do you want Esteval or Due, Alvarez or Mbappe, William Saliba or Van Dijk, Cole Palmer or Vitinha in your team? I think looking at the players I exactly need in my team, I would say Desire Due ahead of Esteval. Then I love Kylian Mbappe more than I love Alvarez, but I think I would prefer Man United get Julian Alvarez more than Kylian Mbappe. Yes, I know Mbappe can give us more goals than Alvarez, but Mbappe might be a little bit disruptive in the dressing room. Yeah, so I would rather go for Alvarez. Then Saliba or Van Dijk. Of course, Van Dijk is on a downward trend, so I will go for Saliba. Then the last one, Cole Palmer or Vitinha. Of course, it has to be Vitinha. If I have Vitinha in my midfield, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be crazy having Vitinha in my midfield. Rico Sitam Van says, bro, Rizzy Rido in Indonesia. All right, Rizzy Rido, nice to have you on the channel. Which team do you support? Are you from Bali? Arsenal 2003 says, brother, what do you think of the Turkey national team during 2002? I really don't remember the Turkish players that played in the 2002 World Cup, honestly. Yeah, that was my first World Cup that I can say I remember lots of things, but the Turkish players, nah. I really don't remember the Turkish players, honestly. I really do not remember them, to be frank. A Japanese brother. Okay, you are Japanese. Okay. Yeah, because I already saw that character. It's definitely a Japanese character. Ohio, my bro. Arigato gaizamas. Nice. Thank you for joining the channel. What's your name, my Japanese friend? Sobrab says Shakira saved the World Cup by releasing her song Die Die for World Cup. It is 1,000 times better than the truck simulator song Lighter. Shakira's 2010 one for me was actually better. Yeah, that 2010 World Cup, the song, the Zamina Mina song was fantastic. Zamina Mina, waka waka, Zamina Mina Sankarewa. This one for Africa. I think that song for me is actually better than this Die Die one. Yeah, I think it's better. Zamina Mina, waka waka, That song, in my opinion, is better than this Die Die one they just released, honestly. Yes, it's better than the lighter one, but the Zamina Mina one still beats it. It still beats it by far. Joy says, okay, Shevchenko or Henry, Wayne Rooney or Zidane, Neymar or Bale, Rafael Varane or Pepe, Maldini or Beckenbauer, Van Dijk or Vieira, Salah, is it okay? Salah or Vini, all time. All time. Shevchenko or Henry? I will go for Thierry Henry. Yeah, even though Shevchenko won Ballon d'Or, but I will go with Thierry Henry. Wayne Rooney or Zidane? I love Wayne Rooney, but I have to go with the legendary Zidane. Zidane is my best midfielder of all time. I love Zizou. Zizou was fantastic. Yeah, Zizou was something else. So I will go for Zizou. Then the next one is Neymar or Bale. I will go with Neymar Jr. ahead of Bale. Yeah. I'll go with Neymar ahead of Bale. Then Van Dijk or Vieira. Vieira was a midfielder. Van Dijk is a defender. So I have to go with I'll go with Van Dijk, yeah, because they are not the same position. Maldini or Beckenbauer? I love Beckenbauer, but Maldini for me is the GOAT. Maldini and Vidic for me. I love those two defenders. So I'll go with Maldini. Varane, Pepe, I'll go with Pepe. Yeah, Saliba, Salah or Junior? Salah, of course. Salah, of course. Hussein Hamza says, how are you, bro? I'm from Australia. Nice to have you on the channel, Hussein. Are you from Perth, Melbourne, or Sydney? Nice to have you on the channel. Jane Mbogori says hello. Jane Mbogori, nice to have you back. The first time I saw this name, I thought it was a Nigerian name, but you said you're not from Nigeria, right? Jane, nice to have you back. CR7 says, what happened to Bailey and Smalling? Bailey is currently playing for Real Oviedo. While Smalling, I really don't know the team he's playing for right now. Yeah, but their careers are towards the end, so that's it. CGYT says, who is the best Premier League player in your opinion? It has to be Bruno, of course. This season, Bruno Fernandes is the best player in the Premier League, and I think he deserves to win the PFA award. Michael T. West says, hello from New Zealand. All right, brother, nice to have you on the channel. We have another New Zealander on the channel. I think it's been more than a month I had a new person from New Zealand join my channel. I've had more than 10 to 15 New Zealanders, so it's really nice to have you join the community. And for those who are just joining for the first time, don't forget to like and subscribe to Noble's View. Hussein Hamza says, I'm from Melbourne. All right, nice to have you. I have a couple of Australians are actually coming up on the list. Australia is number 9 right now for the list of countries that watch my content. So, big shout out to my Australian people. Hussein says, who do you reckon should get the Ballon d'Or? I think Harry Kane, but we know it's a World Cup here, and the World Cup plays a big role when it comes to the Ballon d'Or. So let's wait and see who wins the World Cup and who performs best in the World Cup, like individually. Let's wait and see. Joy says, but honestly, this year Shakira's song 2 didn't give me vibe. Like I said, I prefer the 2010 Zamina Mina song that she did in the 2010 South Africa World Cup. I prefer that one to this Die Die that she did. Yeah, so that's it for me. Real Dandy says, I'm sorry I'll leave the live today. Thank you. It's all good, brother. I will see you guys later tonight because, yeah, I'm also coming back for the live watch along we have for Bournemouth game against Man City and Chelsea, Tottenham. The Man City game, I think, is starting earlier. It's starting 7:30 p.m. UK time. So I'm going to go live maybe 30 minutes before the game starts. Yeah, I'll go live 30 minutes before. Then we'll go through the lineups together, and yeah, let's see. CR7 King says, what's your starting 11 for France since they have so much depth in squad? Ah, man, oh man, oh man. I think, man, the French squad is crazy. It's actually very crazy. Front three has to be Michael Olise on the right, Kylian Mbappe up front, and Ousmane Dembele on the left. Then Cheki as number 10. Chomeni and N'Golo Kante. Yeah, we'll play Chomeni, N'Golo Kante, and Ryan Cheki in the midfield. Then left back has to be Hernandez. Either one of the Hernandez brothers, maybe Theo or Lucas Hernandez, any of them. Then right back, I really don't know who to play in right back because is it Kalulu? Kalulu was omitted. So I don't know. Okay, Malo Gusto, yeah. No, now Kunde. It's between Kunde and Gusto. So I'll go with Jules Kunde. Then center back. Center back, if it's left for me, I will not pick Upamecano to start. Yeah, I will not pick Dayot Upamecano to start. I will have to go with William Saliba and Lacroix of Crystal Palace. These are the two central defenders I will pick because I think that Dayot Upamecano is the most overrated defender in the last 10 years. So I'm not going to go for him. Then for the goalkeeper, Mike Maignan is a rubbish goalkeeper. I really do not rate him. So I would just put someone else there. I don't know the other goalkeepers that have been selected, but I don't want to have Mike Maignan in goal. Yeah, I don't want to have him in goal. Joy says, bro, what you do for a living? Is it day or night in your country? Which country are you in? I'm in China. It's currently 5:30 p.m. And talking about what I do for a living, I have my own business. So I am not working for anyone. So I have my own businesses that I run. Bright Gosioha says, Mourinho career is superb. Moving around from top clubs to top clubs. Yeah, Jose, I think his second spell at Madrid is going to be successful. Maybe better than the first one. Maybe. But, of course, I think the La Liga is going to be more interesting now because Jose is back. Bright Gosioha, how far? How is everything going, bro? I hope you're good. Yeah, Mourinho definitely is going to... He's going to do well at Madrid. I honestly think he will do well at Madrid. Arsenal 8517 says, good day, brother. Yeah, good day to you, bro. Nice to have you back as always. Nice to have you back. Joy says, bro, like what business? Just asking. I have different businesses. I have a sourcing agency. I also have a logistic business. Yeah, I'm also into mobile phones as well. So I have different businesses that I do. Arsenal 851 says, I think Hansi is good, but Jose brings a different aura. Yeah, Jose, I think Hansi Flick is more of a calm person. Yeah, he's not controversial. Tactically, Hansi Flick is top. Yeah, he's not controversial. He's very calm. But Jose has a different aura. We are going to see classic press conferences now in La Liga. Jose Mourinho, always, he definitely has something to say in the conference room. So we are going to see something really, really exciting. Arsenal 8517 says, I don't like him as an Arsenal fan, but you can't deny he's the best. Yeah, Jose has that winning mentality. You might not like his style when it comes to playing beautiful and sweet football. That's not his way. He always finds a way to win. He might not play beautiful football or maybe football that he might find to be very, very enticing. But, yeah, you can't downplay Jose's impact in teams. Now, Jose is on a different level. I think it's just the likes of Pep and Ancelotti that I can say, okay, I can put ahead of Jose Mourinho. Yeah, I know Jurgen Klopp did well at Liverpool, but Jose all around has had a better career. He went to Italy. He won a treble there with Inter Milan, the Champions League, the Italian Cup, and the Scudetto. He went to Chelsea. He won the league 3 times on 2 different spells. The first time he won it twice. I don't know if he won any of the league cups, any of the domestic cups. I can't remember, but I know he won 2 league titles, 2-4, 2-4, 2-5, and 2-5, 2-6. Then he came back later again and won it once and left. Came to Man United, won Europa League, and I think the Carabao Cup. Then he went to Real Madrid. He won the league once at Madrid. Once in 3 years, he won the league title. And he still holds the record of the highest point, 100 points in La Liga to win the league. So he's a top manager. He's a top manager. Yes, his time at Spurs was very terrible. Spurs is a bad place for any manager to be. Then he's gone to Benfica. He's not lost any single game in Benfica since September he took over. They didn't lose any single game in the league. Joy says, if Arteta leaves, will Pep join Arsenal? Arteta is not leaving anytime soon. And considering the fact that Pep Guardiola is not going to be in the Premier League anymore, because we got a news update yesterday and lots of sources have confirmed that today. Even Fabrizio posted that today as well. And I think less than 30 minutes ago, I also got a notification that Enzo Maresca will be the next manager of Man City when Pep's, not if, it's now when Pep leaves Man City at the end of the season. And like I said earlier on, I have a theory. And that theory is that Man City's 115 count charges against them, a decision will be made at the end of this season or early on next season. I guess Pep has already known what that will be and he decided to bounce before that happens. So let's see if the Premier League is going to take a decision when it comes to Man City, or they are still going to stress the issue. Joy says, one team leaving your club you think had the biggest downfall, like from champions to zero, except for your team, since your team is rising. Arsenal says, in fact, when Arsenal sacked Emery, I really wanted Arsenal to hire him because Mourinho is not emotionally attached with clubs, but may accept Chelsea. I think he's emotionally attached to Chelsea and Inter Milan. Yeah, Chelsea and Inter Milan. You can also say Porto, but I would say Chelsea and Inter Milan. Yes, Porto was where he won his first Champions League. Yeah, but Chelsea, I think he has a very, very strong connection with Chelsea. All the clubs he's been to, by the way. There are still lots of United fans that really love Jose. Real Dandy says, I'm not seeing Arteta leaving Arsenal earlier than 2030. Yeah, I think Arteta is still going to stay at Arsenal till, let's say, the next 5 or 6 years, because he will see this as a big opportunity for him to dominate the Premier League once Pep leaves at the end of the season, because he's going to assess other clubs, the likes of Man United. Yeah, they just gave Carrick the contract on a permanent basis, yet to be announced. Chelsea, lots of uncertainties, but they've gotten a top manager in Xabi Alonso. Liverpool struggling with Slot. Who else? There is not really much of a threat. And Man City, Pep leaving, even if Enzo Maresca comes in, it's still not going to be Pep. So Arteta will assess the whole situation and he will be like, nah, he thinks it's the time for him to dominate the Prem. But I don't think that will be the case. Other teams will also step up. So let's see if it's going to be total dominance for Mikel Arteta. Let's see. Let's see. Arsenal says, do you know he never lost a game at Portugal, and that's insane. And not winning it even after going the season unbeaten. Yes, and I think he didn't come in very early. He came in September. The season started in August, so that's like a month plus when the season had already started before he came in. So maybe if he had come in earlier, they would have been very, very much close to winning the league. But they went unbeaten. They drew 11 games. The draws, I think they were much. If it was just 4 draws or 5 draws, it would have been fair enough. Then those other wins, let's say if it was 4 draws and let's say those 7 more games turn out to be wins, then probably they would have won the league title. Joy says, what are those 115 charges? I honestly can't begin to mention all of them, but it's cut across Man City's hiding of their certain transfer fees, their certain records financially. They hid a lot of things. They manipulated some things as well. So those were the number of charges that were levied against Man City, and the case is still in court. So let's see what happens. Darkness says, Barcelo legendary, Visa Barca, Visa Catalonia. Okay, you're a Barcelona man. Real Dandy says, I mean, Nobu, you saying Bournemouth not losing is okay, but Manchester City ain't losing either. I mean, their only losses were in their Champions League run. Well, I think the last game, I don't think City has lost any game since that Man United loss. I'm not sure. Maybe someone can correct me in the chat. I don't think City has lost any game in the Premier League after that Man United loss in January. But I'm still saying this, and I'm saying it confidently. Man City will not win the game against Bournemouth, right? They won't win it. And for Arsenal, what Arsenal just needs is a draw, or for Bournemouth to win. City need to win that game to take the fight to the last game of the season. So let's see what happens if we are going to see a surprise for some people, because for me, it's not going to be a surprise. I've said this. Bournemouth are a very good team, and they have all it takes to be able to hurt the Man City team. So let's see what happens. Arsenal 8517 says, be honest, who do you think are favorites next season since Pep is leaving? Of course, it has to be Arsenal, because even if Pep is not leaving, Arsenal will still be one of the favorites with Man City. Yeah, but since Pep is leaving, definitely Arsenal, in my opinion, are still the favorite. Then other teams like Man United, who have had consistency in about 5 months. Chelsea, I'm not sure yet. But Chelsea might have an advantage if they don't go to Europe. If they win their game today, they will come into the 8th position, which is their place for the Conference League. Yeah, so I think, I think Liverpool, I don't really know what to expect from them, because Arne Slot has been terrible. And I am predicting that Slot might get sacked, let's say, 10 games into the new season. He might get sacked. Arsenal 8517 says, honestly, as an Arsenal fan, I'm not worried about today's game. Not expecting any favors, because it's still in our hand and we can do it in style by not depending on others. But if something happens, Arsenal can rest players. That's it. You guys are playing the final on the 30th of May. And if Man City draws tonight, then there will be no need to play some key players against Crystal Palace. The likes of Gabriel Magalhaes needs to be rested. David Raya, over to the bench. Kepa Arrizabalaga, come up. These are the sort of changes. Declan Rice, go and sit down. Bukayo Saka, go and sit down. These are the sort of changes that needs to be made if Man City draws their game tonight and Arsenal wins the league. But if it doesn't happen, you still need to play all your players to get the point. Agil GH says, hey man United. Okay. Shadow says, what are your thoughts on Xabi Alonso to Chelsea? I think Xabi is a very, very top coach. Yeah, even though I didn't like him moving to Chelsea, because I think he's a very top manager. But I just feel his style of play won't be very, very much suiting to Chelsea. But as a top manager, you will always find a way to make things work. Yeah, so for him to agree to the deal, yeah, I know we got news that Chelsea gave him guarantee that he was going to be fully involved in the transfers more than the likes of Enzo Maresca and Liam Rosinho. So let's see what happens. Arsenal 8517 says a Bournemouth win today will put Liverpool in a lot of pressure. That is why this game, I know Bournemouth are going to take it very, very seriously because they need to win to have a chance to finish in the top 5. If Bournemouth win their game today against Man City and win their last game, and Liverpool loses their last game, Bournemouth will finish 5th while Liverpool will come down to 6th. So Bournemouth are fighting really hard. And even if Liverpool wins their last game, Bournemouth will want to win today so that they can really cement that 6th position. Because if Aston Villa wins the Europa League, number 6 in the Prem will get Champions League football. So it's going to be interesting. Let's see what happens. Arsenal 8517 says, I think the same too. Alonso's style won't suit Chelsea because, but great managers find ways. Yes, as a top manager, he just has to find a way to suit the type of players he have. If he wants to go back to his original 3-4-3, or maybe play 4-2-3-1 or whatever formation he wants to play, he has to look down, check the squad he has, assess the players, and bring out the best possible formation that will be fitting or that will suit the player. So let's see what happens. Shadow says, do you think the Chelsea board will have changed their ways? The Chelsea board have had to adjust because the angle they are seeing the club go is not something they really, really expect. They might go the route of Tottenham. Honestly, they would have gone that route of Tottenham, struggling not to get relegated, which I think, yeah, Spurs are going to win Chelsea today. But let's see what happens. Shadow says, I've lost trust, but if we had a good transfer, I might give them a chance. The main thing is to get the players the manager needs, not give the manager the players you think he needs. They are two different things. If a manager says he needs these players, you give it to them. So that's just it for me. Give the manager what he needs. Fala says, Mbappe, it's been going well play. Mbappe has had a good season. Even though some people might think otherwise, but I think Mbappe individually has been good this season. Tomon Hardtail says, Yo, Nobu, did you end watching my edit? Remember you said you would. I can't remember. If I said I was going to watch it, maybe I did. I can't remember that. Maybe it's been a while then. It's been a while. Shadow says we need a new goalkeeper, wing backs, and center backs. Mainly Chelsea need very, very good defenders. You see that center back. You guys need center backs. Livakovic is top. I rate him very highly, but yeah, you guys need center backs. And I would say 2 center backs, at least 2 center backs. Arsenal 8517 says Spurs are unpredictable. They might even lose today. But surely they still won't be relegated. Yeah, Spurs will not get relegated because West Ham, I think since that Brentford 3-0 loss, I just concluded that they were definitely going down. Definitely they were going down. So Spurs are staying up. But I think they might surprise Chelsea today. They might. Let's see what happens. Franklin says, you look angry, my brother. What? Nah, bro, come on. I don't look angry. Why should I be angry? Joy says, Bournemouth had fantastic season after January, but Aston Villa had best season before January. But after January, they started to be terrible. especially after humiliating from Arsenal 4-1. Yeah, Aston Villa had a very, very good first half, but towards the middle and coming down to the end, they were very poor. But in the last 6, 7 games, they've begun to perform better, and they won Liverpool to qualify for Champions League with just 1 game to spare. So it's a big achievement for them with a net spend of, I think, around 30 million pounds. That is a massive one. If you look at other teams that are qualified for the Champions League, you see that their net spend are actually way above Villa. Shadow says we need a right-sided centre back. Why do you hate Mbappe? No, I don't hate Mbappe. I've been a very big supporter of Mbappe. Even when people were shouting for him to get out of Madrid, I didn't support that. So I'm a big fan of Kylian Mbappe, of course. All right, guys, I will have to end the stream. I will see you guys later tonight for the live watch-alongs for Bournemouth against Man City and the Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge against Tottenham Hotspur. It's going to be an interesting watch-along because, in my opinion, the league title will be decided tonight and the relegation battle will also be concluded tonight. So I will see you guys later this evening for the watch-alongs between these 4 teams. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Take care.